Welcome to the Saturday edition of America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Live action from Oaklawn out in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Check in with Paula Duca a little bit later on in the show. And a couple of graded stakes out at Tampa as well. Grade 3 Tampa Bay is going to be their main event. We have the Endeavor earlier on the card also. First time ever this threesome, I think, has been on set together. Greg Wolf, Maggie Wolfendale, Andy Serling. Going to have fun today.
You're right. Look at how low my chair is. This is your fault. I asked you if I should raise
He's
it,
just
and
short.
you said it was fine.
You know how many people say to me, "Wow, you're a lot taller, or a lot shorter and smaller in real life than you are on camera." I was like, "Do you know the people I work with?"
People tell me I'm fatter than I am on camera. Actually, short is something that's sort of a given. But it's great to be here. This is going to be fun. I'm
now
looking
we're going to
forward
have fun. The feature today at Oaklawn, good one in this distaff division as we work our way to that Grade 1 Apple Blossom out in Hot Springs. Grade 3 Bayakoa. And one of the good really neat stories of this meet, we'll get to her in a moment, Lovely Ride. She's trying to win her third consecutive stakes race of this meeting in here. Going to start, though, with a Moray. Was with Todd Pletcher, moves to Brad Cox. They were going to put her back on the grass. It was washed off. She gets the win on a wet track, but she runs the biggest figure of her life in doing so.
She did. I don't know about you, Andy, but I just think she was a beneficiary of just having a bit more class than what she faced down here at the fairgrounds last time out. The waters get so much deeper. And two, I've always thought about her, when I looked at her physically, that she looks like a wet track horse. So they are at least labeled good as of now out there at Oaklawn.
Yeah, and you know, when you see them win an off-the-turf race and you look to the field and you realize that she was mostly running against off-the-turf horses, it's a little hard to have a strong feeling. And also, okay, she was first-time Brad Cox, but he was getting her from Todd Pletcher, and he's not exactly a bad trainer, so I think he just won an Eclipse Award. The line in this race is completely wrong. I mean, isn't Luda Vida going to be the favorite in here?
She's been disappointing,
Really?
though, I thought.
Oh, I think she's a cinch.
Okay.
I mean, that was huge. Oh, go ahead. Just a huge speed
Well,
track.
we're going to show you the pivot. I did love the way she was finishing in this race, but let's start with this. She was in here and she'd get third. Lovely Ride, able to get the lead to herself again in those last two stakes wins. She's led every step of the way.
I'll see if you got to see if Powder River applies any pressure to her, as well as Grayson's Macho Gal, who can be at times fairly quick in here, Andy. And to your point with Le Davida, she could sit the right trip.
She's
but
the two
boy,
here.
she's her Achilles heel. See, she never switches leads in any of her races. Yes, she keeps coming, but I just think that it's a detriment to her finishing her races as well as she possibly could.
Well, what I think was the biggest detriment was the single biggest speed track they've had at Oaklawn the whole meet. That was that day that I think the one horse won like 5 or 6 of the first 6 or 7 races.
Yeah.
And horses were wiring the field. They allowed the number 7 Lovely Ride to get an easy lead. Now she's got the outside post. Even though it's a field of 6, there's 2 potential speeds inside of her. And if either one of them decides to go, she's not getting that K trip. I think La Vida is way the horse to beat in here.
She showed so much promise. Those first 2 starts in the stage, she was closing a lot of ground late in that race. See if she can step up. For Nacho Correas, that is the feature at Oaklawn in that distaff division. Coming up later today, they're actually listed as good, not fast at Oaklawn. So we'll keep you posted on that main track. And then Tampa Bay, of course, Grade 3 Tampa Bay. That main event, Grade 3 Endeavor, earlier on the card. You can play all the action by getting signed up. Started with Naira Bets, bet any track, anywhere, anytime. That's the offer, that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus for new members. You'll get that offer when you punch in match 200, as you just saw on your screen, again at nairabets.com. Let's set up our immediate action. This 4th at Oaklawn, going to be our first live race of the afternoon. 2-turn mile, an allowance optional claiming field. Strikingly spun Joe Sharprunner, who won in the mud at Oaklawn back on December 9th. Facing winners for the first time, the favor right now.
I thought this race was completely random. I just couldn't get a hold of anybody I thought had to win, and the board sort of reflects it.
Post right here coming up as we approach the 4-minute mark to post. We'll start here in a moment, and here she is, Homecoming Queen. Rudolph Brissett trains.
I don't know why she's 4-1 in this race. She won in synthetic with a slow fig. Her other dirt race was weak. I didn't like her.
Kenny McPeak, stellar lady. She has faced the toughest company.
She has. Now, she was a little bit disappointing 2 back when the beaten favorite in that stake race at Delta Downs, but I just thought she kind of was too far back that day. We'll see if she can be a little bit more forward. Does come out of a nice race with wet paint.
Need some money. Street Sense Filly.
She's a hunch bet for Paula Duca and I in this race. She's one of 3 coming out of the year's end, all of whom did absolutely no running.
Beautiful and bold. Here's the Greg Compton runner.
We'll see. Can she get the lead like she did 2 back while going long? She had an easy lead that day and had no response for the winner. She should be a long shot in here.
Juniors Joni, interesting here, stretching out for the first time.
For a trainer who is 3 for 58, stretching out in the dirt overall, I didn't like her.
7-1 right now. She faced Classy Bridget last out, a talented Chris Hartman filly. Here's Fabulous Candy, blinkers on and Lasix.
Yeah, we'll see if that gets her back on track here, because the race 2 back at Delaware, she was good in beating Beautiful and Bold, but last time she was a no-show.
Andy, you agree with favoritism here on the 7?
I understand why she's favored. She comes off the big win, but it was a muddy sealed track. Now, there is some moisture in the track, but the track doesn't appear to be sealed. And I didn't love the horse that she beat, though she did come back and prove 15 buyer points for Chris Hartman.
5 straight seconds for this filly. She finally broke her maiden, and then Jerry Hollendorfer put her in a stakes race, and she did not show up.
I mean, what happened last time? Did she need the race? It was almost too bad to say that she just needed the race, though blinkers coming off here. She just hasn't run that fast to begin with.
It's just weird because there's 3 horses that come out of that year's end, and they all ran horribly.
She definitely ran the worst of any of them, too, though.
Yeah, she did.
4 minutes to post, 4th from Oaklawn. We'll have that coming up for you in a moment. We're going to head out to Oldsmar, Florida. And Tampa Bay, race 6. Some interesting pedigrees on this card, including in this race. Here is Color Theory. Mile 40 yards here, maiden special weight.
I think this is a long shot worth throwing in. This was not bred to be a 5-furlong synthetic horse. Stretching out on dirt, this horse could be an interesting long shot to throw in.
Frosty O'Toole, blinkers go on today.
Trying the dirt for her 3rd start, 3 different surfaces. Half to Sister O'Toole, but there's been plenty of other siblings that have won on the dirt as those shortcut cheater blinkers go on.
Even money on a sister to a Kentucky Derby winner.
Yeah, I have to mind that bird as well as Dullahan, but it is more of a dirt pedigree. But Todd Pletcher does not have terrific number debuting horses going long on the dirt.
And Dullahan was a former Pacific Classic winner. That was on synthetic. Wits and Wagers at 5-1.
Yeah, this one's had a bunch of chances, but having said that, is fast enough to win the race.
First-time starter, Jet City Woman, Anthony Dutrow.
Actually, more of a turf pedigree. We'll see what these cloud computings ultimately want to do, but as of now, he's had more success with his turf runners, and there's turf on the bottom.
6-1, Patience Worth, Owen Hardy.
Yeah, much like the 5, this one has some experience in the dirt, has run well enough to be a contender.
And 2 turf starts for Volatility, switching surfaces.
You know, it's interesting. John Terranova must think she wants distance, because you get them fit by entering them going long on the turf, because she actually does have a bit of dirt pedigree. As the 2nd dam, she's a multiple graded stakes winner going along the dirt, and that makes the dam have to Condo Commando.
No, I'm betting this horse. I like this horse.
Yeah, for sure.
Got a sister to mind that bird. We have 2 graded stakes coming up as well, including in the next race. Let's check in live for what should be a fantastic Saturday for more with Acacia Clement. Hi, Acacia.
Hey, Greg, Andy, and Maggie, really looking forward to today. As of course, as you mentioned, it is the first graded stakes on the calendar today at Tampa Bay Downs for this year. Next week, of course, leading up to the Kentucky Derby with the card of the Sam F. Davis Day. But today with the Endeavor and the Tampa Bay, both of those graded stakes will be on the turf, and they both came up full fields, really strong fields as well. And we have a firm turf course that we're dealing with here, as we have often heard at Tampa Bay Downs. The turf course is a big reason that a lot of trainers ship in here or stable here throughout the winter. So looking forward to seeing those 2 graded stakes on the card today, and kicking things off on our program with this nice maiden race, Greg.
All right, Acacia, thank you. We'll get back to Tampa in just a little bit. Going to head live to Hot Springs, Arkansas for the first time this afternoon. Get more on this 4th coming up. Tough race here. Paula Duca, how do you see it?
Well, I mean, it is a difficult race. And if you want to buy into the 7 here right now for Joe Sharp, who I thought was very impressive last time out. Now, the track right now has been, I guess, upgraded to good. Now, the first couple races, we've had some bombs. We had a 20-1 shot and then a 30-1 shot win the last race. Now, the middle of the racetrack seems like the place to be. I talked to Ron Moquette earlier in the day, and he seemed like a lot of the jockeys were trying to stay off the rail and trying to not really go to the lead unless they get a clear lead, to be honest with you, because it might dry out a little bit. It is a little windy, and it might get a little faster as the day goes on. But right now, the track's playing that you can maybe close on the wide side of the track. So when you get to this race, you look at the 8 in here, who looks like the controlling speed. But then I look at this horse. This horse is lost at 1-5, 2-5, 4-5. Finally got the job done at 70 cents on the dollar. But, I mean, where does this horse go? Get to the front end and keep on going? I just don't see it happening. You guys mentioned the two. She's faced the best fillies in here by far. Hoosier filly, Wonder Wheel. She's been competitive. Wet Paint came back to win. The race before that, though, she lost at 2-5 at Delta. You know what? The 7, Strikingly Spun, I thought was tremendous last time. Francisco Arrieta sort of sat back, and she made a really long, sustained run to run down your leader, Bolt for Allison, for Chris Hartman. So a lot of horses who were not stopping. I think the 7 is going to be a handful in here, Greg.
Seems like she's got some upside, too. That was just the second start of her career. It was her first time going around a ground. She'll go a mile again this afternoon. She is the favorite for Joe Sharp with Francisco Arrieta. We are set for the 4th from Oaklawn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
They're at the post. Homecoming Queen has backed out. They're set. They're off. Midnight Heiress and a hard scent, Beautiful and Bold at the rail, Homecoming Queen. These three are quickest. Junior's Joni away a close 4th. Then comes Stellar Lady, Strikingly Spun, and Fabulous Candy. And the early trailer is Need Some Money. It's Beautiful and Bold to the backstretch. She sets the pace by 2 lengths to a lineup of 3. Homecoming Queen, Junior's Joni, and a 3-wide Midnight Heiress. Now Junior's Joni and Midnight Heiress within a half length of the lead. Strikingly Spun is midfield. She's 5th with about 4 lengths to make up and a length and a half in front of Stellar Lady and Fabulous Candy. The trailer is Need Some Money, 6 lengths first to last up the backstretch. Finish line is the 16th pole, and Beautiful and Bold is the leader. Beautiful and Bold, 3/4 of a length in front of Midnight Heiress in second. Then a lineup of 4. Homecoming Queen, Junior's Joni, Strikingly Spun, and a 5-wide Fabulous Candy. Stellar Lady is second to last with 5 to make up. Need Some Money is the trailer, and Beautiful and Bold is the leader. Beautiful and Bold, a length and a half in front of Midnight Heiress in second. Stellar Lady has moved through at the rail. She's taken 3rd now and less than 2 from the front. Strikingly Spun has backed out. Strikingly Spun is all the way back to last, not going to fire today. Top of the stretch, Beautiful and Bold. Midnight Heiress and Nick Juarez to the outside come to challenge Beautiful and Bold just ahead in front. To the outside and Homecoming Queen, and she's now making a move, as is Need Some Money, who splits horses. It's still Beautiful and Bold, but Homecoming Queen is on the move. Stellar Lady drives to the inside. These 3, Beautiful and Bold, Homecoming Queen, Stellar Lady, Homecoming Queen. Homecoming Queen beat Beautiful and Bold and Stellar Lady. Very close for second. Needs Some Money, finish 4th.
Homecoming Queen, Ricardo Santana Jr., Rudolph Brissett. Just won back-to-back starts. Now the last win, only prior win, came on synthetic.
She got the clean run down the stretch. The same could not be said for a slightly unlucky Homecoming Queen.
Yeah, she was sitting in the pocket, and then David Cabrera could just not find anywhere to go. Tried to go out, then went back in, and by that time, the race was over.
We're at Tampa, and post time, we're about to load up. Let's check in with Jonathan Kinchin for the first time today.
Look, I'll be pretty brief here because you'll see a lot of me the rest of the show. But if a horse that's a half to Mind That Bird, to Dullahan, out of Justify, trained by Todd Pletcher, shows up in a maiden race owned by Windstar at Tampa Bay Downs and isn't like 1-2, there's an opportunity here, I think, to make some money elsewhere. I just don't trust that this horse is going to run as well as maybe the tote board might suggest. Sure, good win. This horse is supposed to be 1-2 with the credentials that I've just listed. I'm going to take a look at the 7, Patience Worth, for Owen Hardy, a Godolphin horse, Godolphin bred. So obviously there's some good blood there. This horse ran well going 7 furlongs, lost a lot of ground, got an okay speed figure. If the top horse, the 3, Just My Own, doesn't show up, I'll take the 7, Patience Worth. I think this race is not as simple as Todd at Tampa.
We shall see. Odds on that Justify filly out of the dam, who produced a Kentucky Derby winner. Mind that bird. Andy mentioned Dullahan as well, who was earned over $1.7 million in his career. There's the big favorite about to step in. Never easy to win, too, going long your first time out on dirt.
Yeah, I don't want that horse.
I'll be honest, I didn't love her works either coming into here. I like Andy, like the 8 volatility, and I do think Patience Worth is very intriguing, stretching out. Hysterical Lady, she was a multiple graded stakes winner going long.
Pick 5 starts here. Jason Beam with the 6th from Tampa Bay.
Starter in the field. Trainer Tony Dutrow getting close to 2,000 career wins. I believe 3 shy entering today. Patience Worth and Volatility going to be the final pair. We're just about set for a start. The late pick 5 here on a Saturday. Volatility, Sammy Camacho to the outside draw. Volatility goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Good start for Patience Worth, who goes out to the early advantage. Driving through Frosty O'Toole is close up. And Volatility from the outside was away in good order as well. As they run to that first turn, Just My Own, the first-time favorites, came away in between horses in 4th. Then we come back to Keller Theories to the inside of that one in 5th. Whitson Wager 6th, and on the far outside, Jet City Woman, as 4 of them line up at the back there. A little bit of traffic trouble for the favorite Just My Own, who's now back in 6th. So they work their way toward the backstretch. Patience Worth and Pablo Morales in front, 3/4 of a length. On the outside, Volatility to the far outside. Jet City Woman, who was last early on, has advanced all the way up to challenge for the lead. 24 4/5 seconds for that opening quarter mile. Whitson Wagers is 4th. Then comes Frosty O'Toole's 5th. The top 5 only separated by about a length and a half. Color Theory is back in 6th. And at the back now, Just My Own has dropped out to last. But only 5 or 6 cover the group as they have a half mile left to travel. Patience Worth on the inside of Volatility. 48 4 for that opening half mile. They run toward the far turn. Frosty O'Toole just in behind them in 3rd. Looping up on the outside, Whitson Wagers. Color Theory, Jet City Woman trying to get going. Just My Own, but is going to be 4 or 5 deep, but is starting to progress on the far outside. Still has about 5 or 6 lengths to find. They wind around toward the quarter pole. Patience Worth, Volatility. These two have been 1-2 throughout. They're 3.5 in front of Frosty O'Toole. Just My Own continues to make progress. Is 4th, still 5 lengths adrift as Patience Worth turns for home in front. Patience Worth off the turn by just over a length. The Volatility in 2nd. Frosty O'Toole, Just My Own, still 4 lengths behind, but ever so slowly getting closer. Time is running out, though. A 16th to go. Patience Worth, Frosty O'Toole trying to rally up on the outside. Might be the main danger. It's Patience Worth, Frosty O'Toole surging as they come to the wire. Frosty O'Toole look to get up in the shadow of the wire at 8-1. Patience Worth 2nd. Just My Own, then came Volatility.
Tough beat for Patience Worth. Frosty O'Toole really started to kick into gear the final strides to get the win.
Had a bit of foundation on 2 different surfaces, and while a half to Sister O'Toole, the daughter of Frosted, there were some other siblings that have some dirt pedigree.
Yeah, a little bit. This is a tough beat for Jonathan. It was a good call with
Yeah.
him and Patience Worth, who was way too big a price. I thought my 8 horse had a measure, just had nothing, or her measure in the stretch, and Just My Own ran a little bit in the air, but just an overbet, the kind of horse you're supposed to play against.
Frosty O'Toole, 3rd time out. First time on a dirt surface with the victory in the 6th at Tampa. Graded stakes action next at the Grade 3 Endeavor. And of course, the big one in the Distaff division out at Oaklawn still to come in the Bayakoa. Lovely ride, trying to make it 3 straight Oaklawn stakes, including a Grade 3. Later on this afternoon, she's led every step of the way in those 2 prior wins. Can she do it again? We'll be back.
Eclipse champion Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We are back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Thanks for spending part of your Saturday afternoon with us. Our program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Back at Hot Springs, race 4, Homecoming Queen, Rudolph Brissett, Windstar, and Ricardo Santana Jr. with the victory. This early pick 5 has been impossible in Hot Springs.
Well, Windstar did not get the money with Just My Own at Tampa, but they got the money with Homecoming Queen. And it seems like Rudolph Brissett having a pretty good meet with limited starters, huh?
Yeah, it seems like, I think this is his 3rd season out at Oaklawn, and sometimes it's a bit of a learning curve as to when trainers bring horses to a new circuit for the first time, as to what to bring, how to prepare them, and what fits in each condition. And yeah, it feels like he is nailing it right now.
$13 for the win. Wow, I'm surprised there's only one horse actually that is 4 out of 5 in the pick 5. There's monster payouts, but I thought there'd be a few more of those. Back at Tampa, Frosty O'Toole. 3rd time the charm, 1st time on dirt. The charm. Mike Deeney owns this one as well. Antonio Gallardo aboard for the win.
This one was able to wear down the eventual runner-up in here, and it was her 3rd start of her career, 3rd different surface, and it looked as though she enjoyed the Tampa dirt surface A-okay.
Oh, she really made that big run, and to Jonathan's chagrin, just nailing Patience Worth, who was a big overlay at 6-1.
And Just My Own just over bed.
Big pedigree though, and let's not give up on her just yet.
Okay.
Still think she's Alabama for her. She's still penciled
Really?
in for that.
Okay.
I don't know. You know, it's hard to know. I mean, it's very hard to win these races going long, but you're supposed to win a Tampa maiden special weight. if
Like,
you're
why
that
was she
great.
there?
Right.
Why was she there with that pedigree?
I mean, I wonder if maybe Todd couldn't find a 2-turn maiden race down at Gulfstream to go. Is that the only possibility?
2 graded stakes still to come, including up next out of Tampa. It's going to be a fun Saturday. Let's go to Acacia for more.
Looking forward to those stakes coming up today, as I mentioned earlier, Greg. But the last time we were here at Tampa Bay Downs a couple weeks ago, I had the privilege of spending some time on the backside in the morning, getting a chance to chat with some of the horsemen and the owners that do call Tampa Bay Downs home. And today, as it is nice weather too, it's a tremendous crowd. It's really a fan-friendly racetrack, and had a lot of fun putting this feature together with Megan Griffin and Tim Sullivan. And we got a little chance to look back at the history of Tampa Bay Downs. In its 97th season, Tampa Bay Downs has plenty of history. Today, there are many new things to see and do, and perhaps most importantly, the track's racing surfaces have become a big draw for owners and trainers looking to find the winner's circle.
I'm not gonna lie, the turf course is beautiful. And when we started training, me and my wife, we had horses that were turf horses, and we needed to spend the winter somewhere. So we give it a go, and we really enjoy the place, the atmosphere, and the fact that horses winter very well.
Well, as you can see, everybody comes here to run on the turf, get their horses ready for going north. And the dirt track is, when you leave here, you can pretty well win at any track. The horses get legged up good here, and it's a very safe track.
We just want to give our horses enough foundation and experience to be able to obviously go to bigger meets, meaning Kinlan, New York, and you know how tough that can be. And we feel that Tampa is the right place to do so.
There are several places to enjoy all of that great racing, with new stadium seating in the grandstand, covered cabanas on the first floor, and the veranda, which gives your group the best seat in the house, directly across from the winner's circle. There's more fun to be had next door at the Downs Golf Practice Facility, which was launched in 2003.
We offer a fully stocked pro shop. We carry about 9 different brands of apparel, clubs, golf balls, gloves, you name it. Full short game area. You can actually bet the horses inside of our pro shop. We like to call ourselves the only driving range where you can bet horses and play golf in the same day at the same location. You know, joining the golf with the racetrack for families is perfect. You know, you can come over here, hit some golf balls, and then go have some lunch over at the track and play the horses. And there's obviously a lot of stuff to do over there for kids as well. So it's a perfect place.
Fans can also experience the Silks Poker Room on the 3rd floor with a variety of high-stakes games and tournament competition. Whatever you're looking for on race day, you can find it at Tampa Bay Downs.
The word is approachable, both as a fan and as an owner. Everybody that you run into wants you to be here. You have a real connection to the people, and I'm talking from the racing office all the way down to concessions. So it's just a great place to be an owner. It's a great place to train horses. It's probably the best surface in the country, and there's no better place to be in the winter.
Neat little track, nice piece there by Acacia. I didn't really, very long history, and they've become, over the years, more and more significant on the road to the Triple Crown, too.
They have, and it's a truly just that, that charming kind of country fair type of vibe out there, and I didn't even realize they had all the golf and everything like that to offer to the fans, and it truly is a family atmosphere. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from Tampa.
Bring your clubs, Andy.
Yeah, my mini golf clubs. They would need mini golf clubs.
I want to play you in mini golf.
You're in.
All right.
Next
I'm
summer in
actually pretty
Saratoga.
good.
I'm sure you are. Few may notice Maggie's a little competitive.
Couldn't tell, right, Greg?
Not the rest of us aren't, but.
All right, we're going to get into graded stakes action next out in Oldsmar, Florida. That Grade 3 Endeavor, mile and a 16th on the grass is race 7. We'll have that for you when we come back. We're going to take a short time out. We'll be back. 5th at Oaklawn on the way as well. $30,000 maiden claiming sprint ahead. 6 furlongs. We'll be back. Stick with us. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2.
Here comes Malathaat. Here comes Clariere on the outside. They're coming to the finish, and it's going to be Clariere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. Cody's Wish on the outside. Cody's Wish with the upset in the Fargo. Malathaat grabs the lead in deep stretch, and Malathaat has won the Personal Ensign Stakes.
Curling, the classic sire.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Number 1 is Mo Donegal by Uncle Mo. And they're off in the Remsen. As they come on for the finish, and it's going to be tight here in the Remsen. Mo Donegal. Mo Donegal bearing down on the outside. It's Mo Donegal and early voting, and it is Mo Donegal to win the Wood Memorial. And it will be Mo Donegal to win the Test of the Champion, the Belmont Stakes.
Tampa Bay Downs has a rich thoroughbred horse racing history in Florida dating back to 1926. Celebrities such as Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and John Ringling all attended opening day. In 1981, Hall of Fame jockey Julie Crone won her first career race here, and in 2007, we saw Street Sense win the Tampa Bay Derby and go on later that year to win the Kentucky Derby. Featuring full fields, great turf racing, and a 15% takeout on our Pick 5, Tampa Bay Downs has live racing every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Thanks for being with us. It's brought to you in part where you can play it all at Naira Bets. Get signed up, started at nairabets.com, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. We have the 5th at Oaklawn up next. The top got this Pick 5 being almost impossible, this early Pick 5 sequence. The smallest payout, with the exception of, I believe, El Mongo, was paying 4 out of 5, $44,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw him on the board. It was just, I remember Paul saying we'd seen some long shots earlier in the card, but don't know if anybody watching's alive, but if you are, good luck. We are rooting for you.
We're going to take a look at Moon Connection. Surprisingly, 6-1 on the board right now. I thought this horse was a major player in this race. Took blinkers off last time out at this condition, was forward, and wound up second, beat less than 2 lengths.
I don't love the race this horse is coming out of. Obviously finished ahead of 6 Whips, who's inside of him, and finishing third. I feel like I watched for another race somewhere Oh, no, I watched the replay of the horse that ran fourth, Texas Ted. He broke too slow in that race, and I mean, I felt like maybe he's the one you kind of wanted the most out of that race. I'm just not sure I want anybody out of the race.
No, it does feel like it's a touch below what these horses are. I mean, if anything, I would actually like Texas Tad because he spotted the field at least 3 lengths, and he ran on well from behind in a race that virtually held together up front. So he's the only interesting one, I think, out of that maiden 30. I think there's some other interesting players, and a lukewarm favorite, Greg, the first-time starter, Cactus, number 3.
Yeah, for the barn that could do no wrong, Norm Cassie right now, who's, what, 50% at the meet from limited starters?
Yeah, I bet getting you watch the replay of this horse's 2-year-old sales work.
It wouldn't load. I knew you were going to do that.
Who paid $300,000 for this horse?
10-1.
A first foal. It's not a good-looking. It really wasn't. I feel like I almost called Norm Cassie to say, but I felt bad. I didn't want to put him on the spot, and him saying, "Yeah, I kind of blew it," because they paid $300 in for 30.
Maryland bred. No, I'm kidding.
Well, other than you, I don't know why anybody would pay a lot of money for a Maryland bred, but I mean, they paid $300 and the horse is running for 30 first time out, so they're obviously already made a mistake.
We'll see Cactus in a moment. That's who they're talking about. Here's Texas Ted coming out of that common race with Moon Connection.
Maggie and I are on the same page. If you want anybody out of that race, I think you want this horse.
12-1 on a first timer next door.
Wow. Taking some nibbles there with his Cal bred. First foal to run from an unraced dam. Second dam, if you go back a generation, was better on turf.
Debut for a horse you spent $300,000 on in for $30,000.
I like that there's 3 firsters: a Cal bred, a Maryland bred, and a Kentucky bred. And the Kentucky bred on the outside is a half to a New York bred.
Yeah.
Here's Sparkin. Took a little money first time out at this level. Got off slow to a slow beginning.
Yeah, kind of ran sneakily well, I thought, in there. As you mentioned, Greg, look for a more alert break. Could be part of the mix.
The 5 was interesting. Diodoro, those first couple of starts ran pretty good.
I thought this horse might be the horse to beat, to be honest, cutting back in distance and facing just much weaker.
Eternally Grateful did not have a good break last time out and wound up second.
I thought, had to weave through traffic, stayed on his inside lead, but ran on well just behind the heavy favorite.
Here's El Mongo, 14-1. He was just behind Eternally Grateful last out. Well, 3 lengths behind him.
Right, and I feel like if you want anybody, you want Eternally Grateful out of that race. And Asmussen's good, especially off the claim with maidens at Oakland.
Sergeant Counselor just claimed.
Oof. Did not come back to run well after a hiatus, and when he debuted early as a 2-year-old, just feel like this type hasn't gone on.
I remember his race when he lost it as odds on it at Churchill.
Seemed like a key race at Churchill, that maiden restricted and didn't.
That race makes that horse live. That race makes him live.
Here's Moon Connection, still at 6-1 off that race we showed you.
Sat off the early leader. He was just second best. Does have some speed, could make him a player.
And first time starter for Ron Moquette, Manta Ray on the outside.
I have to buy hubby hello money.
Yeah.
A New York bred that's been running around here. I just thought it was a group of first-time starters in this race. And this horse actually has a little pedigree to be good enough to compete with this field.
4 minutes away, this 5th here at Oaklawn. Let's go to Paulie.
Yeah, a kind of confusing race because when you looked at this race in, I guess, this morning or last night, you thought the Norm Cassie runner would be the horse to beat in here because he's having just such a tremendous meet. Now, the horse is the lowest will pays in the multis when it comes to pick 3s and doubles, but not taking a ton of action on the board at 4-1, where you get the 5, Robertina Doro. I agree with Andy. If this horse runs back to the first 2 races, the Son of Connect, he's going to be very formidable in this spot. And you're getting 5-1. You're getting great prices on everybody in here. In terms of Grateful, the 6 off a claim, I think he's got a good shot. He's got his son Keith Asmussen in the irons. I'm going to land on the horse that you guys were talking about, the 1, Texas Ted. I don't really love horses that got left, but I thought he kept on grinding and grinding and grinding. And, I thought it was a better look fourth. He kept on coming. It wasn't like he was just sucking up. I thought he was kind of running on a little bit to the top 3. So I'll go with the 1 here at 10-1 at a little bit of a long shot in a wide open group here in race number 5. And like you said, Greg, Mongo. You need a little Alex Karros. That's right, Alex Karros, Mongo.
Candy ran for Mongo.
That's how I remember it. Yeah, from Saturday Night Live days. Paulie from his Dodger days.
Blazing Saddles.
Oh, geez.
Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
I saw Blazing Saddles, the Malta Drive-In with my father when I was a kid.
Again, I'm too young. Hi, Acacia.
Back at Tampa, grade 3 Endeavor. Coming up next here, mile and 16th on the turf. And that's a look at Panama Red State's debut coming up for this Arnaud Delacour 4-year-old filly who's a 2-time winner.
I feel like we're looking at Panama. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm looking at, oh, that's the different one. He's very good with his European shippers, and this horse has run some credible races overseas.
Don't you feel, though, that the Irish form sometimes doesn't translate as well as the English form?
I'd never thought of that, Maggie, to be honest with you. I'm not disputing it. I'd actually never
Feels
thought of
that
it.
way. I don't know. I just feel like the racing there
Interesting.
isn't quite as good. And, I mean, the couple tries in Graded Stakes Company this horse hasn't really run that well.
6-5 favorite. Market segmentation, lightly raced. Won the debut, was second beat a length first time against winners, and then came back to win again. There's been a lot of gaps here. Stops and starts for this Chad Brown filly as we take a look at the second win of her career. She did it from the far outside post, and she did it pretty easily.
She's a good horse. I mean, obviously, she's overbet at 6-5, and she's facing some tougher horses. But she's obviously talented, and I feel like Chad Brown used these races last year for Bleecker Street to put her on the run. I don't know if she's the next Bleecker Street. She's got potential.
6 in a row for Bleecker Street, or was it 7?
Maybe even 7 when she won the New York. She's training again, by the way.
Beachfront bid 27-1 to kick off our post parade.
They were hoping it rained.
Right. Yeah, they were looking for this one to run, I would think,
0
off
for
the
6,
turf.
on the turf.
She's
for this
not competitive.
27-1 shot for Tom Albertrani. Here's the 2 surprisingly Shug McGahee.
I mean, she ran okay last time. I don't know. I didn't see any trouble when she was the beaten favorite in that Virginia Oaks.
No.
So she was away for a bit, so maybe there was an issue.
Here's the State's debuter for Arnaud Delacour, Panama Red.
I always respect Arnaud Delacour's horses, but Maggie's probably right. This horse would have to improve off the European form.
Thought this was a major player. 12-1 Olivia, the Desert Stakes winner on dirt and turf.
I know. She comes in off of a big effort, her first one for the Wayne Catalana barn. She is a player.
30-1 Eureka.
Yeah, she would have to. I mean, she's the trainer switched to Brendan Walsh, but he gets the horse from Graham Motion, and she just have to improve immeasurably.
Chad Brown, Klarovich favorite, market segmentation.
I really liked her last effort. I know she does not stay on the racetrack that much, but she is very talented.
There's Dakota Dancer. Any chance?
No.
28-1.
Speed.
Being bet like there is not. Yeah, going to be forward. We know that. Spirit and Glory, Rob Falcone.
I thought her 2 races at Aqueduct here she was a bit against the track, so I give her a look in here.
I bet her,
Yeah.
and I used her with a favorite, the exacta.
This
I like her.
filly's been pronounced Omi Sochi. Should be forward.
Should we pronounce it differently today?
43-1.
I think today we're going to pronounce her as good luck.
She's gone. Blinkers going on. Victoria Oliver trains.
I know. I mean, she's hinted at some ability at times, so she's going to have to do it off a bit of a layoff.
And Scottish star Todd Pletcher had a big race at Saratoga and then flopped in a graded stake at Gulfstream.
Yeah, I don't really like this horse. I think that Saratoga race was pretty weak, and overall this is just a better field. But I'll tell you something. Javier Castellano being there, he's just a better rider than the guys at Tampa, and he'll give her best chance sending her the lead.
I also think she needs Lasix, and she gets it here.
Panama Red, the 3, 8-1. State's debut coming up. For more, let's go to Acacia.
I'm pleased to be joined by her trainer, Arnaud Delacour, who does send out Panama Red. Arnaud, making her first start after running over in Ireland, what have you seen from her? She carries good weight for a European filly.
She does indeed. She came to us in October, and we just took our time like we always do with Euro import. They usually tend to do better if you give them a little bit of time. And she's really done everything right, breathing every week, and she's very consistent, and I like the way she breathes in the morning.
You have a super talented horse coming up later in the Tampa Bay, Chez Pierre off the layoff, and a horse that's really done nothing wrong. What have you seen from him off the bench?
I think he's getting more mature. He's learning to run. He used to be like a little bit aggressive last year in his first race back. He was a little aggressive running 6 furlongs. So we stretched him, and now he's really relaxed. I hope he's not too relaxed today, but I've been very happy with the way he worked.
Thanks for your time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Could be a big day with the 2 stakes today for the Delacour barn, Greg.
Yeah, Acacia, thank you. Starting with Panama Red, 8-1 right now with this State's debut coming up. So we'll get back to that in a moment. We go to Oaklawn, race 5 for this maiden claiming race. And we should mention with the 6, who was briefly favored, 9-2, Eternally Grateful. Steve Asmussen with his son Keith aboard, owned by one of his other sons, Eric Asmussen.
Oh, whoa, Eric getting in the game.
Wow.
I like it. He is obsessed with racing. I have not seen, of the 3 Asmussen boys, he is by far the most enthusiastic about it.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool. Steve's got good numbers off the claim with maidens at Oaklawn. He's 5 for 11 with sprinters with a 333 ROI, and he's 7 for 19 overall, so obviously much better with sprinters. But his numbers at Oaklawn specifically are very good off the claim with maidens.
I didn't single it out to Oaklawn because they were just average overall.
Well, he's actually one worse because he had a loser yesterday, but that was a bad favorite.
Broke out, was last behind the field, and then made a big run to get second behind Yacht Rock, who was impressive in that win, although did not come back to look great yesterday.
I like the 5 and 6 in here with a little 1, but that's where I'd go.
Yeah, Once Upon a Dream, Diodoro, the new gelding, 3-1 favorite in here.
Yeah.
Dropping out of a maiden special, cut back in distance. I don't know where that line came from, nowhere near it, the favorite.
Yeah, the last race, obviously, the horse just did absolutely no running and such. Now they dropped out. Listen, you have to be a little concerned, I guess, with that performance in the drop.
Is a new gelding, too.
Yep.
And I think when, gelds horses, he does it with a purpose. So sometimes, when they don't perform well, this is sometimes the equipment change they need.
Are they going the wrong way?
Something happened. Somebody jumped off. It looks like there's a late scratch here, Greg. I
Yeah.
can't. Purple colors. Is that the one?
Good call.
Yeah. It looks
Let's
like
talk
the
about
one.
the 8 at Tampa. Can we talk a little bit about Spirit and Glory, a horse
Yes.
both Maggie and I like? I would, you and I were talking off camera before, and I made the point to you. We're talking about the Lasix, and it's something people make a little too much of it, but this horse is the only 2 wins are both with Lasix.
And why did she come to this country in the first place? I mean, she improved dramatically when she got here with that win back on June 16th, and she hasn't really looked back.
Let's go to Acacia for more.
Your favorite is Market Segmentation, who was visually so impressive last time out, winning for Chad Brown at Gulfstream. Is still lightly raced and stepping up to face significantly tougher today, but a really big, good-looking filly. She's very elegant looking in the way that she's built, and it's interesting because she's only had a couple of starts, 3 starts so far, and this is one that I did think was stepping up and maybe had a bit of a tall order. I like what I saw from her, but I was intrigued by a couple others, namely the number 2, Surprisingly, who gets back onto the grass today. I thought last time out, she actually ran on really well, outrunning her stablemate Personal Best, who maybe didn't care for the Tapeta as much, but that filly came back to win the La Pavillon last week at Gulfstream, and this one getting back on the turf I think should suit. She is a filly, surprisingly, that I think could actually want even a little bit longer than this, and I understand why they tried her going the 1 1/8 in the Virginia Oaks 2 back, but she just never had a place to run in that race and was really tight early on. And with such a big filly, sometimes when they get stuck in traffic like that, they completely kind of lose their nerve or lose their ability to kind of go through some tight spots. She was intriguing, hopefully getting a better trip today, as Paco Lopez did ride her in her debut, where somehow she won 5.5 furlongs on debut, Greg.
All right, Acacia, thank you. Grade 3 Endeavor, right-hand side of your screen. On the left, at 5th from Oaklawn to close out an early pick 5 that has been near impossible to come up with.
I think it's pretty impressive that Oaklawn's running 10 minutes late and Tampa's 10 minutes early. I don't feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone episode going on here. Obviously, there was an issue with the scratch at Oaklawn, but they were a little late anyway. But feels like Tampa's going to go first. What do you think, guys?
I think so. They're doing the circle. The circle of no return at Oaklawn. So
that was, by the way, at Oaklawn, you had Texas Tech
Texas
coming
Tech.
out the 1 as suspected. Late scratch.
Well, I'm all in on Spirit and Glory. And at 6-8, I box 6-8 and press 6.
That's an enticing price as well on Spirit and Glory at 9-1. Even money. Do you think that's warranted?
No.
Not even close.
No, I think
right?
she should be
This
about 2-1 in here.
right.
She's a nice, very promising horse who's running well, but this is a gigantic jump in class. I mean, she did lose to Salima, who had a race under her belt, and Salima came back with a couple of stakes wins. But nonetheless, it's the Chad Brown factor.
Wow. I mean,
on the other hand, he's had so much success going there that it's understandable. But I agree. She's supposed to be about 2-1 in here.
does not have the figures to warrant that by any stretch. We'll see. Maybe she's going to take a big move forward. They usually do from this barn. You're taking the worst of it, though, wagering-wise.
That's a terrible price.
We'll see. Acacia's the horse she's interested in, number 2, Surprisingly. I did not see that much trouble in the Virginia Oaks, but before that, she won both her first 2 starts on the turf. So now she gets back to it today, and she onwards and upwards. Shug, he's a developer, not he's going to let them develop into nice horses.
Waiting for Reka to move in. Scottish Star for Pletcher with Javier Castellano from that outside post. Grade 3 Endeavor, first of a couple of graded stakes. We'll bring you from Tampa Bay on the Saturday card. Let's go to Jason Beam for the call.
Aranka goes in. Scottish Star, Javier Castellano to the outside draw. Scottish Star. She comes up and in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Endeavor Stakes. Beachfront Bid set hard from the inside. Panama Red was out quickly, though. Panama Red up to assume command. Dakota Dancer trying to cross over toward the outside. And Market Segmentation is close up early on just between those two as they come into the stretch for the first time in the Endeavor. It's Panama Red and Daniel Centeno just ahead in front of Dakota Dancer. Scottish Star moves up a bit closer alongside of Market Segmentation, so the two favorites are sitting third and fourth early on just behind the top two. It's another length back to Omi Sochi. Beachfront Bid, they're together fifth and sixth. Moving up between horses there, surprisingly tapping on the brakes. Olivia at the Desert on that first turn was passed by Spirit and Glory. She's gone with one beat early on, and that's Oranka, who's the early trailer. 22 and 4 for the opening quarter mile as Panama Red takes him on to the back stretch, just about a length in front of Dakota Dancer in second. Market Segmentation stays toward the inside third, just 2 lengths off the lead up front. Then comes Scottish Star, keeping tabs on that favorite to the outside is fourth. Beachfront Bid goes through toward the inside in fifth, about 4.5 off the lead. Then comes Spirit and Glory. The opening half timed at 47 3/5 seconds. They take their run toward the far turn. Panama Red still there just over a length to Dakota Dancer. Scottish Star starting to lift up on the 3 wide side. Market Segmentation going to try to go with that one as they converge on this leader up front. Panama Star, Scottish Star on the outside. It's Panama Red, Scottish Star, Market Segmentation in tight between them. Those three have snuck away. They've gone 4 in front of Spirit and Glory, who's now up to fourth. Down on the inside, surprisingly. A final furlong left to go. Scottish Star up on the outside. Market Segmentation battles with that one. Getting closer surprisingly down the outside, trying to mow down these top two. Scottish Star in Market Segmentation surprisingly down the outside. Scottish Star here surprisingly surging on the outside. Surprisingly got up in the shadow of the wire. It looked like Scottish Star was right there. Market Segmentation and Panama Red.
Surprisingly, final strides. Paco Lopez, Shug McGahee for the Phipps stable.
And just, as Acacia pointed out, just feels like that Shug McGahee horse that just needed to come into her own, needed to develop a bit. And if you put a line through that Virginia Oaks, maybe coming out of there with a bit of an issue, came back with a decent race on the Tapeta, and now back on the turf where, Greg, she has, won 3 of her 4 starts on it.
27 to 1.
No.
No.
I'm
sorry,
She
I'm
was
looking at the wrong
5.
screen.
She was 5 to 1, I think.
It's a great call by Acacia. I did not like this horse. And, Paco was much more patient, I think, than the other riders. Benefited from the inside position. But it's almost like Javier and Camacho on the 6 and 11 thought they were in a 2-horse race. And it felt like they almost were for a while, but Paco was patient. He picked them up at the end. A very nice run.
Market Segmentation looked like she was going to make that big move coming out of the turn and then just flattened out.
He was riding her a lot, though, from the, around the turn. You kind of felt that she wasn't going to get there.
They're off. Once Upon a Dream broke fast, but now he's dropped all the way back to second to last. 6 Whips goes to the front from El Mongo. Cyandi's at the rail. Then Sparkin, Moon Connection, and Manta Ray, followed by Cactus and Sergeant Counselor. Once Upon a Dream is second to last, and the trailer up the backstretch is Eternally Grateful. To the half-mile pole as Kyandi moves through and takes the lead from 6 Whips in second. El Mongo in a tight spot third and less than a length from the front. Then to the outside and Manta Ray, Moon Connection and Sparkin at the rail. 2.5 to Cactus. He's about 7 from the front. Once Upon a Dream has 10 lengths to make up, and he's 2 in front of Sergeant Counselor and Eternally Grateful, Kyandi, and 6 whips are 1-2. Kayandi has the lead. Manta Ray threatens to run a big one. And here's Manta Ray up into challenging position, then 2 back to Cactus. Once Upon a Dream has a long way to make up. So Kayandi has a short lead. Manta Ray is alongside. Then comes Cactus. These 3 to the final 16th, and Manta Ray's a neck in front. Cactus to the outside. These 2 now to the wire. Cactus and Manta Ray. Cactus puts his head in front. Manta Ray is second. Kayandi third. Cactus in front. Cactus beat Manta Ray. Kayandi was third, and Eternally Grateful finished fourth.
Cactus, first time out. Norm Cassidy can do no wrong. It continues in Hot Springs. Did this horse get claimed for $30,000?
That's a great question. I think we need to get Paul on the case.
Yeah, I could also text Norm and find out. I'm not sure they'll be unhappy if they lost the horse for 30. Pay 300, you win a 30, but Norm is on fire down there.
Incredible.
Like 7 for 13 at the meet now. I don't know if he's run anybody.
He's over 50%,
yeah, he's
as
over.
you said,
He's got 8
with
wins.
this win. Yeah. Well done, Norm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard for the victory first time out. It's Cactus. We'll have the prices for you when we return. We're at the Lake Pig 5. Coming up next, it was surprisingly, meanwhile, back at Tampa. Shug, Phipps, Paco Lopez, those prices ahead, and the Tampa Bay still to come on the lawn. Stay with us.
Caraconte has the potential to be a leading turf stallion in America. Caraconte proved with Spenderella that he can produce an international caliber horse that can run all over the world.
Spenderella hanging tough with the advantage to win the Appalachian.
I've been fortunate enough to train some top fillies and mares. Spenderella is right up there with the best of them.
Spenderella turns it into a procession.
I think Caraconte is a horse who has tremendous potential.
Caraconte standing at Gainesway.
Back on America's Day at the Races, Grade 3 Endeavor in the books. Shug McGaughey, Phipps Stable, surprisingly with a Grade 3 win.
I don't think it was that surprising with this victory, though. And the last move was the right move here by Paco Lopez. Just sitting back, you could see that market segmentation was under a ride, kind of from the middle of the turn onward. Scottish Star looked to have her measured, but in the end, Paco timed it perfectly, was surprisingly, and a nice, promising filly for Shug McGaughey.
Yeah, I mean, not that either second, third horses had bad trips, but that tripper's market segmentation, having to sort of force your way between horses, always sort of trying to play catch up, is not the best of trips. Not that she had a massive excuse.
Let's go to Acacia for more.
I'm pleased to be joined by Anthony Hamilton, assistant trainer to Shug McGaughey, as surprisingly gets back to the turf today. Anthony, just such a big, long stride. Seems like that's what she prefers.
Yeah, absolutely. Paco did a great job today, saved ground, finished strong. We're really happy with her.
And seems like she's kind of a classic Shug McGaughey type that just took a little while to get going and is really getting good now.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
It's been a big day for the team with General Jim winning the Swale, second win at Tampa today.
Yeah, no, we had a really good day. We've had a good couple of weeks, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Thanks for your time. Congratulations. Anthony Hamilton, a big piece of the Shug McGaughey operation, Greg.
Keisha, thank you. Surprisingly, now 3 for 4 on the lawn and has probably a very fun year ahead.
Yeah, looking forward to maybe and hopefully seeing her back up here in New York. Love Anthony Hamilton. He trained for a bit on his own before Shug inviting him into the stable and has done a really good job.
And apparently he's going to be a relation of yours eventually
yes,
when your
I
daughter
am
grows up?
fingers crossed that his son Hughes and Willow maybe tie the knot one day.
Really? It's pretty.
They're really
you know, if they end up
They're
getting
really
married,
tight.
that's going to be one of your best calls ever.
I
mean, that's
know
really
that his wife, Kristen's
impressive.
going to text me in a moment and say, I can't believe you just said that on air.
That's kind of like the person who I know that said when Kobe Bryant was born, because of the parents, he's going to be a great athlete.
Back at Oaklawn Cactus, this incredible meet for Norm Cassie continues. We believe, we're verifying, I think he's 8 for 15 at the meet.
I think your math is right. He had the win, in yesterday's 7th race, Greg. He hasn't run any since then, and that's just an incredible record here.
It really
Pick
is.
5 was $55,000. We're going to be signing off on FS2 momentarily. PBA Bowling, U.S. Open from Indy, you'll see on FS2. Then at the conclusion of the Butler Marquette game over on FS1, we'll be back with more FS2 coverage. You can continue to watch us on our YouTube page and on the Fox Sports app. So the action continues with America's Day at the Races. Again, we'll see you back on FS2 in just a little bit.
Whatever you use to predict future stallion success, breathe slowly and gaze at the desert's first great championship race. Curlin won it. So did Street Cry, Arrogate, and now, in a time even faster than Arrogate's, Mystic Guide. The cold hard fact is, after this, he was rated the best horse in the world. Mystic Guide. New to Darley.
Very powerful colt, very square and behind, carried a lot of muscle, a lot of strength. Obviously bred and raised in Windstar, which is a great sort of advertisement for them and the stallion that stands there.
Constitution himself has really good physiology. I mean, he was impressive on the track. He had the physiology himself to be successful, and it seems like he's putting that into his foals.
I actually loved him from, the first look I saw him. Big, strong horse, great strength about him, great mind, great athlete.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Our program brought to you in part by Hill & Dale at Lapa. Greg Wolf, Maggie Wolfadale, Andy Serling on the desk as we get you back out to Oaklawn, race 6, mile and 16th. Condition $10,000 claiming race, 4-year-olds and up. And this kicks off the late pick 5 that includes the grade 3 by Bayakoa.
Yeah, interesting to see what happens in the Bayakoa. We were talking about it a little bit earlier. I think we have a little bit of a different opinion up on the set here.
You don't just think, you talked about Le Davida, you think it's going to be the favorite, but you think you like her today too, right?
I'll be very surprised if she loses today. I really will be.
Okay.
I just think the other horse has been extremely fortunate. There's a big bias last time, and I don't really trust Mo Ray off the turf race, though I guess she's the wild card in there for Brad Cox.
I mean, at this point, we kind of have to look at the Norm Cassie horse in Powder River, right?
I think
or am I crazy in saying that?
Well, I mean, she didn't run that badly last time out in her last race at Fairgrounds. We'll see. I mean, obviously, she'd have to improve. Oh, wait, Norman's texting me. We may have his record. You ready?
Yep.
He is,
he doesn't know.
No, he did
like
not.
Most
he didn't tell me. Yeah, well, 15's probably, 15, 16's a high number for most trainers, so he's probably having trouble counting.
Jesus.
8 minutes away from the 6th. We're going to have this post parade in just a moment. Let's go to JK.
Yeah, hey guys, we've been fast and furious here, so I missed you a couple times. But don't worry, all I had was bad opinions. If you're watching at home, we saved you some money. I thought the 5 was interesting here. Take Charge Gent. This is a horse for Norm McKnight, who he ran okay last time from a speed figure standpoint, but he's got some numbers in his past that suggest that maybe he'll kind of figure it out. He was wide all the way around there, going 9 furlongs. I think maybe cutting back a little bit shorter, mile and a 16th should help quite a bit. I don't love this horse as the type that you could single in some type of multi-race wager, but it's 6-1, the type of horse I think you definitely want to have in the mix. The 7 Boldish, I just don't trust. He seems to be declining. If you look at his speed figures, he was running 80s once upon a time. Then he started running 70s, and then he started running 60s. I just think maybe he's going in the wrong direction. I think the 5, Take Charge Gent for Norm McKnight, is the one that I want in here.
Jonathan, stay with us. Why did the city of Austin steal Portland's theme?
Look, I wasn't alive when that happened. I tell you, if you've ever been here before, there is quite a bit of hippies, so I think that it kind of fits. And my son's name is Austin, so when he was a kid, he used to wear shirts that say "Keep Austin Weird," which I thought was kind of fun.
Just play. I think it is Portland's theme as well.
Yeah,
okay.
It is. I have shirts to his
it?
point about his son. Grace always wins. So Grace likes that one.
Nice.
I've been to Portland. I've never been to Austin.
I'm a big fan of
Never been
huge
to either.
neon signs in your house.
Yeah, I think
Me
no, I am.
too.
Who is?
No, I'm serious.
Greg is
we're getting
serious.
one.
No, Greg.
Yes.
If this doesn't
Laura know?
work out, he's going to be an interior designer.
I would love to do that.
I actually do. It's growing on me. My husband would never let that happen, though.
6 minutes to post here in the 6th. Yeah, you got to be able to get along with decisions are tough in the house. We're going to see Mr. Tip in a moment to kick things off here at 7-1. Isaac Castillo is going to ride for Martin Villafranco first off the claim.
If a horse wins that was claimed out of a bottom-level claiming race from Robertino Diodoro, that horse is going to win at my expense. And lost at 4-5 last time. I wouldn't bet this horse in a million years.
Generator, Tom Vance trains.
Yeah, we saw Tom Vance with a winner on our show yesterday. If you go 2 back at this same level, I thought was very game, albeit in defeat.
Morning Snow at 11-1.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about this horse that's positive. I just didn't think the horse's recent form was good enough.
Take Charge Gent, the 5 Norm McKnight trains.
Horse that Jonathan likes. I don't have a strong opinion. Obviously, it's an easier spot than last time, getting back on a dirt track.
Primer Dimer, who's Steve Asmussen, second off the claim.
Teaming up here with the meets leading rider Christian Torres, just an against tougher last time. You can get back to some of his races more at this level, is a player.
Boldish, big shot here at 4-1.
Yeah, on the other hand, these kind of drop downs, and this trainer does have good numbers making these precipitous drops, though not at Oaklawn. Just 3 for 26.
C-Spot Run won last time out for non-winners at 2.
Yeah, and takes this, next step up the ladder here. It could be the speed, but I feel like that last race, he'll have to recreate it.
Optimus Cat, Jason Barkley claimed off of D. Wayne Lucas last start.
And you want the horse to improve a little bit and has some back races, not entirely impossible.
The one to beat, I thought, by a long ways incorrigible.
Yeah, goes out for my friend Jonas Gibson. And this is a condition where it's either horses that haven't won 3 or haven't won a race in 6 months, and he is the best record.
I want to talk about him after. No, I want to talk about this horse after the post parade.
18-1 Georgia Deputy.
Yeah, I just didn't think this horse was good enough. It also has no speed at all.
And any case to be made for Major Kong?
No, sorry, Major Kong.
Nearly 40-1 from an outside post. 3-time winner, the 7-year-old.
You think of Donkey Kong when you see that name?
Great
King
movie.
Kong?
If you ever want to see a great documentary, King of Kong, Fistful of Quarters. Incredible movie about setting the record in that game.
Oh, really? About
Yeah.
Donkey Kong?
Must
Oh, really?
see.
I want to get more
Quickly.
from you on that. I want.
We'll get back to it. I want to hear your point on incorrigible. We're Tampa right
Yeah.
now. Here's our post parade for the 8th. Far From Home at 13-1.
I'm far from looking at it. It's interesting that this. I didn't even realize this horse had become a sire far from over, and his storied career gets on dirt for the first time.
60-1 in a debut that was on synthetic. So dirt debut coming up. Here's the 2 Reinvest pedigree here.
Oh, yeah, have to diversify our Whitney winner, New York bred for the late Rick Violet. And Tim Ham, I mean, the meat doesn't say he's doing that well, but he can get a first-time starter to win.
Graphene Kasich, blinkers coming off.
Goes back to the dirt, has only run in 1 dirt race off the turf and did no running.
Here's the favorite right now, City Humor.
Yeah, projects to be the speed in here. We'll see. He's had some stamina issues in his 2 previous dirt sprints. Can he take them all the way today?
Blinkers coming off this one as well. Bold Majestic.
Yeah, this horse would have to improve dramatically off the dirt races.
3-year-old debut coming up. The last was on grass, was a non-factor. Roses by Liam at 7-1.
Yeah, taking some money. A Minnesota bred gets Lasix and makes his first start for Tim Badia.
This horse's debut race is a very live race. I know it looks crazy slow, but a lot of horses improved out of it.
Yeah.
First-time starter, here's Star Canoe.
Not familiar at all with this trainer. The dam was a turf horse, though she did actually run a 75 buyer on dirt.
And the 8 taking money outside. Fire Baron, blinkers going on. This is start number 8.
I mean, maybe it's a Goldilocks effect, as there's only 1 dirt sprint, finished 3rd, but didn't have Lasix. Now the blinker's going back on. Maybe all of that will result in a win for Fire Baron.
I like this horse cutting back. This would be my choice.
Yeah, I thought ran really well in that dirt
Yeah,
sprint.
I like this horse. Can we talk about Oaklawn? Where are we? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Andy Serling, everybody. That's why we don't let you produce. Nowhere near the booth for Andy. We're going to go to Acacia.
Nobody gave me a rundown.
Don't even look at that.
Don't worry, I never do.
Oh, it's okay, Andy. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about a couple of horses in here, starting with the number 3, Graphene Kasich, who does cut back in distance. And it's interesting that this is a horse that is going turf to dirt and is cutting back, but he's built much more like a sprinter. And the blinkers do come off, which is an interesting move for a turn back in distance, but he's much more rounded out in his hindquarters behind the saddle, physically much more compact, much stouter. Is the dirt really his better surface? I'm not sure. The 1 dirt race he ran okay on an off the turf 2-turn race at Horseshoe Indy, but more than anything, I thought that this looked like the right distance for him. The 4 City Humor was the one that I probably liked best. He ran, I thought, fine last time out, but he is a little bit of a runoff, and that was off of a bit of a layoff. Broke running. Really seemed eager to set the pace in that last start, but Danny Centeno kept him pretty quiet in the warm-up today. He looks really strong, really well muscled. And just a quick note on the 2 Reinvest, as he is 5-2 as they head to the gate. This horse is so big. He looks like Diversify. Looks like one that maybe wants to go a little bit longer, Greg.
All right, Acacia, thank you. He's become the favorite. Reinvest. Dan produced Diversify. Grade 1 winner, and now the debut coming up. 5-2 favoritism on the 2.
Does that mean he is quite live, Andy, in here? That he is 5-2?
I don't know. You know, Maggie, it's a reasonable question. It's not as though anybody in here is that appealing. Is he kind of taking money? He's a quality road, not, you know what I mean? But can he really be being bet because I have to diversify? How much money the pool is, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a good question. I lean away from first-time starters in general, for better or worse. And I go with experience, and I'd bet the 8.
And to Acacia's point, he is huge. I mean, look at him. I mean, his hind end is bigger than the pony's, and he comes in off of a succession of 5 furlong breezes. To me, that doesn't say 6 furlong first time out.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So maybe just a starting point. Longer is going to be better in his future.
And isn't the 4 the controlling speed? Sorry, Greg.
Yeah.
I mean, he just looks loose.
But
I'm curious what the 6 does in here, because I looked up that first race before they went into the stake race at Canterbury, and it's a lot of horses came out of that race with like 20 or so points better, and a number of horses just got better as time went on out of the race. And I was thinking, maybe this horse is a lot better than it looks in Minnesota Bred. And he's bet, by the way, at 5-1.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's the 6 Roses by Liam. This his 3-year-old debut coming up for Tim Padilla. Favoritism, though, to Reinvest for the debut. Pablo Morales will ride.
It's a funny name, Roses by Liam, because St. Liam and Roses in May were actually kind of rivals, right? I feel like Roses in May beat him in the Dawn, which is now the Pegasus.
And I really don't think they were going with that. He's a Liam's map out of Congrats and Roses. So.
It's just funny, though, because those 2 horses were such good horses, they ran against each other, right?
Jason Beam, the call. Here's the 8th from Tampa Bay.
Going up. Fire Baron backed away. Now goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. City Humor in the center goes out for the early advantage. Up from the outside, Star Canoe showing good debut speed, and Far From Home driving through down along the inside. But it is going to be City Humor to lead him up the backstretch. Far From Home, and right there outside, Roses by Liam in the green colors, now a joint second. Length and a half more back to Reinvest. Star Canoe, who broke sharply, settles 5th. Fire Baron, that one's outside. Then comes Bold Majestic, and it's another length then back to Graphene Cassock, who is the trailer early on, as City Humor takes him by the half-mile pole. Just a half length in front, and plenty of company now. 22 and 3 for that opening quarter mile. City Humor. Roses by Liam 2 deep. Star Canoe 3 deep. Fire Baron 4 deep on that far turn, as 4 of them line up there. City Humor still 3/4 of a length in front. Just in behind them, Far From Home going to look for room down along the inside. Also trying to get through is Reinvest, and here comes Reinvest. Got to see him in between horses as City Humor floated just a touch wide. City Humor, Reinvest. These 2 now to the top of the stretch. City Humor still trying to get out just a touch. Reinvest comes through inside of that one and quickly goes to a narrow advantage. City Humor right back at him, though. They're 2 in front of Roses by Liam in 3rd. Down toward the inside, Bold Majestic trying to rally up along with Star Canoe. But a final 16th to go. Reinvest on the inside just in front. City Humor, Reinvest a half length now. Reinvest. Good debut win here by Pablo Morales, a length. City Humor was 2nd. 3rd went to Roses by Liam. Bold Majestic 4th.
Reinvest, first time out dueling a horse with experience here. City Humor for the victory.
Kind of assist when Daniel Santana sort of drifted off the rail.
Back to Oaklawn, loading up in here, and it is the 10, Incorrigible, the 3-1 favorite.
Jonas Gibson is a Louisiana guy, and as Andy pointed out, does have more success at Delta and Louisiana Downs. Has not translated that to Oaklawn. We'll see. This horse does have speed. We'll have to do it from the outside.
3-1 favorite. 2 left to load on the outside. Pick 5 starts here. Includes a grade 3 Bayakoa in that Distaff division. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
They're at the post. They're off. Incorrigible and Generator shows speed. Optimist Cat and a hard scent Morning Snow. Take Charge Gent and Primer Dimer are next. Then comes Mr. Tip and Boldish. C-Spot Run has 2 beat. They are Georgia Deputy, and the trailer at the clubhouse turn is Major Kong. To the backstretch they run with Generator and Morning Snow and a 3-wide Incorrigible. Generator and John Court a half length in front. Morning Snow is second by a length and a half to Incorrigible, a 4-wide Primer Dimer, and Take Charge Gent at the rail. Optimist Cat is 6th in the black cap and about 4 from the front, a length in front of Mr. Tip. Boldish is racing in the clear. He's got 6 lengths to make up. He's 2 in front of C-Spot Run, Major Kong, and Georgia Deputy is the trailer, midway on the backstretch, and Generator leads. Generator just a head in front of Morning Snow in second. Incorrigible is 3 deep in third. Primer Dimer will be 4 wide all the way around the far turn. Then comes Take Charge Gent and Optimist Cat. A length and a half to C-Spot Run. Mr. Tips at the rail. Boldish has 2 beat now. They are Georgia Deputy and Major Kong. Many chances rounding the far turn. Take Charge Jen and Generator. They're matching strides. Incorrigible is 3 deep in third. Primer Dimer is fourth. 2 lengths to Mr. Tip. He looks like he's got some run in the red blinkers. Mr. Tip will need a way through top of the stretch. They head for home, and Take Charge Gent now has the lead. He's a length and a half in front of Mr. Tip, and here comes Mr. Tip with a solid run outside of Take Charge Gent. Take Charge Gent a half length. Mr. Tip is second. Generator is third. Late run Georgia Deputy, Take Charge Gent, and Mr. Tip. Down to these two, Take Charge Gent, Mr. Tip, Take Charge Gent. Take Charge Gent beat Mr. Tip. Georgia Deputy was third, and Generator finished fourth.
5-1-11. Mr. Tip, the runner-up, and here after a brutal beginning, looked for a moment like had a big chance to win this race.
Yeah, he fell to his face at the start, Greg, kind of really putting himself behind the 8 ball, and then he wouldn't switch leads down the lane and could just never get by. Take Charge again to nice call by Jonathan, drops out of that starter allowance.
Yeah, good call by Jonathan for sure. Maybe a little bit lucky, but on the other hand, he took a brutal beat as a 6-1 shot in Tampa, so he deserved a little bit of luck. Every horse player does.
9-2 over 6-1 to start off this late pick 5 in here. Bayakoa still to come. Slight pause as Fox rejoins us. Welcome back to FS2. Temporarily left us for some PBA bowling that started that U.S. Open from Indy. Good to have you back here on America's Day at the Races. Live action from Oaklawn Park and from Oldsmar, Florida at Tampa Bay. Greg Wolf, Maggie Wolfendale, Andy Serling. We have Jonathan Kinchin, Paula Duca with us, Acacia Clement as well, the whole team. And we have our best races still to come, including that Bayakoa at Oaklawn.
Yeah, looking forward to that Bayakoa. We'll see if Lovely Rye can go 3 in a row with stakes victories out there at Oaklawn. But you're interested in a horse that finished 3rd behind her last time.
Yeah, whose name I can't remember at this point, but it does
De La
start with
Vida.
Le. Yeah, I think that
Le
horse is a kick in the pants today. We'll see what happens. The Tampa State coming up is pretty good too.
Yeah,
we'll get to that, the Tampa Bay, in just a moment. We're going to show everyone what you missed at Tampa back in the 8th race here. First-time starter with a big pedigree that certainly a lot of people in New York would know.
Yeah, you have to diversify. And it was questionable with the 6 furlongs, but we'll see how he does.
And the race is on. City Humor in the center goes out for the early advantage. Up from the outside, Star Canoe showing good debut speed, and Far From Home driving through down along the inside. But it is going to be City Humor to lead him up the back stretch. Far From Home, and right to their outside, Roses by Liam in the green colors, now a joint second. Length and a half more back to Reinvest. Star Canoe, who broke sharply, settles 5th. Fire Baron, that one's outside. Then comes Bold Majestic, and it's another length then back to Graphene Cassock, who is the trailer early on. As City Humor takes him by the half-mile pole. Just a half length in front of plenty of company now. 22 and 3 for that opening quarter mile. City Humor, Roses by Liam 2 deep. Star Canoe 3 deep. Fire Baron 4 deep on that far turn. As 4 of them line up there, City Humor still 3/4 of a length in front. Just in behind them, Far From Home, going to look for room down along the inside. Also trying to get through is Reinvest, and here comes Reinvest. Got to see him in between horses as City Humor floated just a touch wide. City Humor, Reinvest, these two now to the top of the stretch. City Humor still trying to get out just a touch. Reinvest comes through inside of that one and quickly goes to a narrow advantage. City Humor right back at him though. They're 2 in front of Roses by Liam in 3rd. Down toward the inside, Bold Majestic trying to rally up along with Star Canoe, but a final 16th to go. Reinvest on the inside just in front. City Humor, Reinvest a half length now. Reinvest, good debut win here by Pablo Morales, a length. City Humor was 2nd, 3rd, went to Roses by Liam. Bold Majestic 4th.
First-time starter, Reinvest. Dam produced Diversify, as Maggie had told you, who treated us some big moments here on the New York circuit. $7.60 for the win. And this was, you had thought this, we talked to Acacia as well, both thought this horse might be better going longer.
I still think he will be better going longer, Greg. It was promising to see him, though, have that natural speed to be able to win here. We know that City Humor has speed, distance challenge, but Reinvest had that big scopy build to him that I think he will move forward from this effort.
All right, we owe you Oaklawn 6. We showed this while FS2 was away. Here it is. Vic Stauffer, the call.
Post. They're off. Incorrigible and Generator show speed. Optimus Cat and a hard scent Morning Snow. Take Charge Gent and Primer Dimer are next. Then comes Mr. Tip and Boldish. C-Spot Run has 2 beat. They are Georgia Deputy, and the trailer at the clubhouse turn is Major Kong. To the backstretch they run with Generator, Morning Snow, and a 3-wide Incorrigible. Generator and John Court a half length in front. Morning Snow is second by a length and a half to Incorrigible, a 4-wide Primer Dimer, and Take Charge Gent at the rail. Optimus Cat is 6th in the black cap and about 4 from the front, a length in front of Mr. Tip. Boldish is racing in the clear. He's got 6 lengths to make up. He's 2 in front of C-Spot Run, Major Kong, and Georgia Deputy is the trailer, midway on the backstretch, and Generator leads. Generator just ahead in front of Morning Snow in second. Incorrigible is 3 deep in third. Primer Dimer will be 4 wide all the way around the far turn. Then comes Take Charge Gent and Optimus Cat. A length and a half to C-Spot Run. Mr. Tip's at the rail. Boldish has 2 beat now. They are Georgia Deputy and Major Kong. Many chances rounding the far turn. Take Charge Gent and Generator, they're matching strides. Incorrigible is 3 deep in third. Primer Dimer is 4th. 2 lengths to Mr. Tip. He looks like he's got some run in the red blinkers. Mr. Tip will need a way through top of the stretch. They head for home, and Take Charge Gent now has the lead. He's a length and a half in front of Mr. Tip, and here comes Mr. Tip with a solid run outside of Take Charge Gent. Take Charge Gent a half length. Mr. Tip is second. Generator is third. Late run Georgia Deputy, Take Charge Gent, and Mr. Tip. Down to these 2, Take Charge Gent, Mr. Tip, Take Charge Gent. Take Charge Gent beat Mr. Tip. Georgia Deputy was third, and Generator finished 4th.
Take Charge Gent taking the 6th at Oaklawn, 9-2 here. Gabriel Saez, Norm McKnight, new top stables, 11:40 for the win.
And if you were able to watch, Jonathan actually liked that one. A nice call. The one unlucky there, though, sort of stumbled to start and probably was missed.
Yeah, very good to get second. Runner-up finish in there after that brutal beginning in that race. So that one in the books. We're going to move on. In the card 7th at Oaklawn next, we're going to see some interesting 3-year-olds in this spot, including a horse for Steve Asmussen, Gun Pilot, who had the lead on Verifying, who was second in the Champagne, actually came back, ran a 97 buyer in his 3-year-old debut for Brad Cox.
Yeah. And he's pointing to the Rebel, right?
Got to think so. I mean, I would assume of that. And, you know, I really am interested to see what this horse does because you look at the 88 Fig, he ran a 67 in his debut. Now, he's a second-time starting gun runner. He has every right to improve a lot. But it does make you wonder a little bit, was that figure a little bit on the high side? And so I'm curious to see if he comes back and runs another big race, because if he does, I think it really does move up Verifying. Now, Verifying was 6th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but he made a big step forward and looks like a horse that could have gained a lot on the horses that beat him that day.
I really like him as a horse, Verifying.
It's Brad Cox, right? It's,
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Dolphin? Or is it?
No. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Grade 3, Tampa Bay still to come. Mile and 16th on the turf. And Chez Pierre, 5 for 5, brings a perfect record into this grade 3 today, including 2 starts in the States. We've not seen this horse run, though, since April 23rd of last year.
I'm not betting a horse as the favorite off that kind of layoff. I know this horse ran very well and is obviously probably the horse to beat, but I'm not taking a short price on a horse off a year layoff or 10-month layoff.
People love win streaks. They love to bet horses who are undefeated, and I think that's what we're seeing here. No doubt about it, though. From what we've seen from him,
crushed Field Pass. Well, just look at Field Pass, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he crushed him in this race, and you look at Field Pass, and he looks like a contender in this race.
It's like a major contender.
Right? And he just, I mean, he beat him, he just crushed him like a grape. I think I'm interested, and I think Maggie, you might be a little bit too, and win from within, maybe trying to wire the field in here. He's very quick, and I do wonder. I mean, I know Verbal doesn't look good enough, but this is an awfully ambitious spot for Chad Brown to bring him back, and he has been gelded.
sounds like he's been working well, and hence
Verbal.
He wouldn't run him here.
We'll get to him coming up. We're going to look at a manual for Todd Pletcher, who proved his effectiveness on the grass in a grade 2 at Belmont last summer. He went gate to wire doing that, utilized his speed. And then we didn't see any of that speed when he came back at Saratoga in August of 2022.
Well, obviously something went wrong in Saratoga, to be fair. Listen, I'll get this horse in the winner's circle. I do not like this horse.
Had to go wrong early, though, because they weren't even aggressive with him.
It was weird what went on. You know, he had to be scratched out of the Belmont Derby because of a medication situation where somebody unfortunately used something too close to the race. But you look at that win. he absolutely crawled in the lead. And looking at the horses that came out of the Pennine Ridge, that race has not been a particularly good race going forward. And with the presence of horses like the 3 and 4, he's not getting the lead in here. He wins, I lose.
Yeah.
That even if he repeats that Pennine Ridge somehow, that figure's not even close to compete with this group. He'd have to take a huge move
He'd have to
forward.
be a completely new. Now listen, he is Todd Pletcher. He's off a layoff, but I agree. I don't see how he's good enough, at least on what we've seen.
Neither do I.
We're going to take a timeout. Grade 3 Tampa Bay is coming up next. Mile and a 16th on the turf. Field making their way to the paddock. Another Chad Brown drawing into the field. Don't sleep on Golden Alchemist. Draws in from the AE list. We'll have more on the Grade 3 Tampa Bay when we come back.
It's Rock Your World in command. Medina Spirit making no progress. And it's going to be Rock Your World to take them all the way in the Santa Anita Derby. He's undefeated and wins by 4.
We're back at America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Good to have you with us. It's brought to you in part where you can play all the races we bring you and many more. Go to NyraBets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Grade 3 Tampa Bay still to come. We have the Grade 3 Bayakoa as well. Greg Wolf, Maggie Wolfadale, Andy Serling. We've been promoting this virtual horse racing world as well. We all have our stables, Game of Silks, and we had to pick charities that our stables can earn money for. We're going to reveal that now. I guess no one's really done it yet. I'll start. All my winnings will go to Backstretch Employee Service Team for the New York Racing Association that's taking care of the people who take care of these horses that work unbelievably long hours and give them health services and wellness services. My stable, a couple that I'm really excited about, obviously the Uncle Mo. An American Pharoah filly who the dam produced Tom's d'Etat.
She was a very nice horse, Julia Tuttle.
She was.
Wasn't Brad Cox?
No.
I remember.
Graham? No.
Maybe.
And I have a couple of first croppers
nice too. Got some nice ones there.
Okay, Greg, you have the best stable.
He's got the best. He's got the best sire list. You look at the sires.
Totally.
It is stacked.
That is a really nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, listen. I just hope that among all of us, we have 2 or 3 horses that can run a little bit. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Because it's all going to charity. It's not a competition,
exactly.
and I think I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I hope that we get a few of them can run in here, and it'd be nice if any one of us really gets.
I
one to
feel
run.
like with what I have, Winchell Thoroughbreds, Klarovich, they might be willing to negotiate a trade with me.
You've got a
in my
Klarovich?
stable.
Oh, you have a Klarovich?
No, I'm saying with what they have, what I have, if they want to make a trade, just trade stable for
Richie's
stable.
got a really nice Klarovich runner. He's got one. He's got one that went for $325, I think, and Chad Brown had told me he actually had thought the horse was going to be more expensive.
Oh,
So
wow.
kind of exciting.
Your charity.
My charity, of course, is the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. Looking forward to that. I am excited about my American Pharaoh as filly as well. We got to see her in the sales rate, and she's an absolute tank of an animal. So yeah, looking forward to
40th
that.
anniversary, right?
Yes, it is their 40th anniversary of Walk Hill as well, which was the first Second Chances program in upstate New York.
Andy?
I'm going to be giving any earnings I should get to the New York Racetrack Chaplaincy. Of course, a charity I feel very, very strongly about. I mean, I think feel strongly about all these charities we're involved with. And you talked about BEST that you're giving to. I think it's just great. Any of these charities that are giving back to the backstretch workers here, which obviously BEST does, and Chaplaincy does as well. But the workers at the track do so much for us.
And we talk about more about these too. We'll give out where you can do your part if you want to give to these. But if you want to get involved with Game of Silks, these are actual horses you're going to see compete, hopefully, on the racetrack, but debuting at some point, but in the virtual world. Go to silks.io for more information and be part of the action. Very excited about it. Coming up next, Grade 3 Tampa Bay, mile and a 16th on the turf. We might have a sneaky idea here of a big long
Sneaky
shot.
now, and maybe in 10, 15 minutes it won't be so sneaky.
Stay with us. We'll be back.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Spire speed figures, a 3-time Grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions, and offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We take pride in what we do.
I'm an assistant trainer.
Carpenter.
I'm a peace officer.
I'm a jockey.
I'm a gardener.
I'm a groom.
I love what I do.
We are New York Racing.
New York Racing helps support my small business.
It's extremely important to the New York economy.
This is like a big family.
We are New York Horse Racing.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Our program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Our best yet to come. Grade 3 Tampa Bay out in Oldsmar, Florida. We have the Grade 3 Baiacoa in that distaff division. And lovely ride, trying to make it 3 consecutive stakes victories. We look forward to that. Right now it's the 7th, potentially a 3-year-old who could stamp himself as a contender maybe on the Triple Crown Trail at some point. 3-5 favorite is Gun Pilot, maybe the most likely candidate to do just that. Second to Verifying, who is a player on the Triple Crown Trail already last time out.
He has speed, he has natural speed, but he's going to have to deal with I don't know if he is, because it's another Asmussen horse and Vigorish right to his outside. But as you mentioned, Greg, this was the debut, but last time we saw him just run down by a very talented horse in Verifying.
Doesn't Burbot Pash have to go on the outside,
Also,
stretching
yeah.
out? You know, you
Yeah.
would think that was going to go. I'm very curious to see what he does, because I really would like to see a horse that can verify the Verifying figure, because it came up so fast. I mean, to put into perspective for people, he ran a 97 Beyer. The Bob Baffert horse, Arabian Night,
Night,
that
yeah.
everybody's talking about, he got a 96. So just to put it into perspective.
Two different racetracks, though.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying that in from a figure standpoint.
It looked fast, though. That's what it looked visually fast. I don't know.
I don't think the number was wrong for that race. Sometimes you just wonder if they're not the kind of ones you want to. Right. Yeah. I'm curious here. I mean, because Arabian Night was made. David Aragona made him the current favorite for the Derby. And I'm just putting in perspective. And listen, I'd be booking him if I could at this point. Not because that he can't be a good horse, but he's got a lot more to prove that I'd want to make him the favorite.
Stablemate Arabian Lion running this weekend as well. Here's Gun Flash at 10-1 Christian Torres.
I actually am interested in him. He would be the one I would use. I thought he was interesting last time. He did not run a step, but I thought he had form going into it.
Here's the 3-5 favorite, Gun Pilot.
Yeah, I thought Gun Flash had trouble behind Gun Pilot. He's much the horse to beat. We'll see what kind of trip he pulls, though.
Speed at Remington and a debut win for Vigorish.
I don't want the Remington horses coming to Oakland. What I've seen, they have not run particularly well.
CJ Storm, 19-1, faced Victory Formation, who's undefeated for Brad Cox, Smarty Jones winner.
Yeah, but he was beaten 21.5 lengths by him. The race before in the Advent was okay. He feels like he's a better sprinter, honestly.
Stretching out for the first time in start number 7, Coffee Caliente.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this horse is running some decent figures. The trainer doesn't have a great record with a moderate number of stretch outs.
Protege just third to a decent Brad Cox runner hit show.
He could never get off the rail last time, and I just wonder if he was kind of uncomfortable down there throughout.
And Bourbon Bash, Dwayne Lucas.
Yeah, I don't like this horse stretching out. The one route, obviously, a very tough race with a fast pace and better horses. He didn't do any running. And the truth is, I think he's a little dressed up. I thought he just kind of was picking up pieces last time.
Fast Drill coming in. He's faced Forte on a couple of occasions, your 2-year-old champion. 4 minutes to post here in the 7th. Starts the late pick 4. You can play with Naira Bets. That's the offer, that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus with the code MATCH200 for new members at NairaBets.com. So 4-5 favoritism. Gun Pilot, Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana Jr. Let's go to Paul for more. All right, some audio issues. We'll try and get Paulie sorted out and get back to him in a minute. But you guys talked about it with Gun Pilot. I mean, his game is to be quick, and there's a couple other speeds, including his stablemate right next door.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as Maggie was alluding to, in the post parade, yes, but it's hard to believe that he's going to be getting in his way. I mean, on the other hand, are you sure they're going to be absolutely determined to have the lead with the number 2 in this race, Gun Pilot? I mean, with his post, it's a little problematic, but I would wonder, they'd probably like to be able to rate a little.
Let's go back to Paul.
Yeah, sorry, guys, for the difficulties there. Listen, when you look at this race, you look at the 2 Gun Pilot. Now, talking to Steve Asmussen, he considered this horse his best 2-year-old at the time, besides Extra and Nails. He really did consider that. I was talking to Ron Moquet. He even told Ron Moquet, who has the second choice in here, Protege. And I'm in agreement with Maggie. You know, Ron told me, like, I don't know if he really liked being inside. He likes kind of the outside draw. The mystery horse to me is Bourbon Bash getting money. Maybe people are thinking that, you know, that trouble when the horse was steadied. I kind of get it, but I don't know if this horse is good enough to beat. And here's the problem with the 7. You know, he's had multiple gate issues, and he can't make a mistake in this race, especially with horses like the 2 and the 6. And I'm in agreement with Andy, the 1. I thought this horse won first time out at first asking, and then just kind of just flat-footed from the gate last time, and it maybe can pick up some pieces. They're going to have to, I think, run to beat the 2 here. This horse looked tremendous in the post parade, and is very highly touted by Steve Asmussen. JK, is Gun Pilot your horse here too as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think this horse is probably the most likely winner. When you look at a trainer like Steve Asmussen and a sire like Gun Runner, these are the types of races that you feel like they're going to continue to improve, continue to win. I think Gun Pilot's going to be tough in here. He's tactical. You get Ricardo. He ran well last time. He got beat by Verifying, but no one's embarrassed about that. Verifying, a very talented horse. One thing I will mention, the 6 Protege, if you watch the head-on from his last race, it's pretty clear to me that Rafael Bejarano thought that they were running to the second wire. And, you know, I don't know exactly what that means, but maybe he mistimed his ride. Maybe he had a lot of horse, thought he had a lot more space to get to that situation, so he kind of timed it incorrectly. and maybe timing it better would have helped Protege win the last race. You can't see it in the pan. You got to watch the head on. But he was riding pretty hard after that first wire. So we'll see if maybe a better timed ride could help Protege. But it's going to have to, because I think the 2 Gun Pilot is the likely winner.
All right, JK, thanks. And the public agrees. 4-5 Gun Pilot here, start number 3 after a debut win, and then second to a very good 3-year-old for Brad Cox as we're back at Tampa Bay Downs, Oldsmar, Florida, with a grade 3 Tampa Bay post parade coming up. 9-5 favoritism. The undefeated Shea Pierre has been off since April of last year. We start with Barberini.
Yeah, Barberini looks to be a little bit overmatched. This is a pretty tough spot for him.
17-1 from that inside post. Kentucky Ghost, Victoria Oliver trains, and the blinker's gone.
Bit of girl power with Emma Jane Wilson at picking up the ride, too, on Kentucky Ghost. He is a ghost right now. He's not even on our screen, Greg. But he's proficient at this distance, so it feels as though turning back a bit to this mile and a 16th, as I ramble
wherever
on about
he is.
him.
There he is.
There he is. That it might be to his liking. I mean, so I kind
He's
of
got some good figs.
he does. His last 2 haven't been great, but I think he could get back to them.
Former Queen's Plate winner here, Mighty Heart.
And he's potentially a speed, at least second behind Win From Within, who's pretty quick. He'd probably have to improve, though he did get 1 good figure as a D also ran, though.
Win From Within just went by. Here's the 5, 32-1 starting over.
He's a long shot. Maggie and I both like Win From Within, right? You like him too?
Yeah,
I
and
like him.
look, with number 6 here, Emmanuel, that's Emmanuel's Achilles heel is Win From Within, because I feel as though Emmanuel is a need the lead type.
He's not as fast as the 3 either.
Field Pass, huge price on a horse that has races that absolutely can win here.
And he goes synthetic to turf, back to the right surface, didn't get a great trip 2 back at Aqueduct. He is way too big a price.
Verbal went by for Chad Brown. He's 11-1. Here's Drama Chorus, the 9.
Yeah, he's stepping up in company significantly.
Shea Pierre undefeated.
Interesting to see what Acacia has to say about this horse coming back off of that April layoff. Is he ready? Looks it on the track. See if he can go 6 for 6.
He's pure gold. Won his last start. It was at Gulfstream on January 1st.
It was a big improvement, I would say, last time out against lesser company. Takes a step back up in class here with Kelly Green.
And Golden Alchemist Chad Brown gets in from the also eligible list. His first turf start, he was a winner at Aqueduct back in November.
He was, and he improved in the turf. The problem is that was a weak field. This is a much tougher field. The post obviously did have no draws. But listen, it's Chad Brown at a big price.
6 minutes to post. Grade 3, Tampa Bay. Let's go to Acacia.
Really excited about this, and we will start with that layoff runner, Shea Pierre, who does come back. And I thought it was interesting hearing from Mono Delacour earlier that he was hoping he'd be a little bit more relaxed today, and I can see why. He came in and he looks very fit off the layoff, but he started to get a little bit on his toes, jig jogging a little bit anxious in the post parade too, and he kind of started acting up with the pony a little bit, and just really kind of realizing that it's game time. So hopefully he is able to settle. This is a horse who is undefeated. He's by Maymas, who is a very talented horse going shorter, and this is a very big 5-year-old now. He has a lot of scope to him, but again, he does look very fit coming back, and I thought that his last race was very strong in the way that he pulled away from that field impressively. Chad Brown does send out 2 as Golden Alchemist draws in, but the number 8 Verbal, who comes back after a poor performance in the Transylvania last time out. I remember him being kind of a bigger, heavier horse, so I was excited to see him gelded coming back now in the first start of his 4-year-old season, especially maybe off of a layoff and just not carrying so much condition. And it does seem to have lightened him up a bit more, as this is a horse who I think will benefit from coming back and more maturity, and with that fresh gelding, he was a standout in the paddock, Greg.
All right, thank you, Acacia. Loading up back at Oaklawn.
I think the 1's interesting here, Greg, watching the warm-ups.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him at least second of the favorite here. Mostly that.
Carl Broberg's Gun Flash. Blinkers going on. Start number 4. Big favorite, though. 3-5 Gun Pilot. Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana Jr. From post 2. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Gun Pilot broke a stride slow. CJ's Storm and Protege will beat Gun Pilot, who's now taken in hand to the first turn. Coffee Caliente and Bourbon Bash are next. Then comes Gun Flash, and the trailer is Vigorish, and he's green at the back of the pack. So CJ's Storm is the leader to the backstretch. He leads Protege, and Bourbon Bash is on the move 3 deep. There goes Bourbon Bash all the way up to third and a length and a half from the front. Gun Pilot will do his running from off the pace. He's fourth at the rail and 2.5 off the lead. Then comes Coffee Caliente and Gun Flash. They've got 4 to make up. 7 lengths last to Vigorish as they head up the backstretch. Finish line is the 16th pole, and CJ's Storm is the leader. CJ's Storm, a length and a quarter in front of Protege and a 3-wide Bourbon Bash. Gun Pilot continues to sit chilly. He's fourth at the rail and 2.5 off the lead. Gun Flash just outside of him, and further out Coffee Caliente. Now 10 lengths last to Vigorish. They leave the backstretch. It's still CJ's Storm trying to go all the way. Protege is put pretty much to a full-out drive. Bourbon Bash could get into second soon. Gun Pilot is still in fourth. He's joined by Coffee Caliente, and on the front end, there goes Bourbon Bash all the way up to put his head in front. Protege goes with him, and now these two match strides. CJ Storm backs out. Gun Pilot still has 3 lengths to make up, and Bourbon Bash gets away at the top of the stretch. He's got a 2-length lead now. Gun Pilot comes after him, and here's Gun Pilot trying to gun down Bourbon Bash. Bourbon Bash a half length. Gun Pilot alongside and right alongside, and Gun Pilot now fires past. Bourbon Bash is second. Gun Pilot in front. Gun Pilot beat Bourbon Bash. Close for third between Gun Flash and Protege.
Gun Pilot, the best here of the 7th at Oaklawn, and showing some new dimensions doing it as well.
That's always good to see when you have a young, promising 3-year-old. A nice step forward, complementing the victory of Verifying last time out. And he was able to rate very comfortably and still have plenty left. I mean, he kicks away from this field late in the game.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about that beforehand. It turned out that the other speed wasn't the 3, who's the opposite of speed in that race, but I think that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to get an education out of the race. And he ran, I'll be honest with you, I was way wrong about the number 7 in this race.
So was I.
That horse, Bourbon Bash, we didn't like that horse. That horse I ran very, very well to be second here.
Back to Oldsmar, Florida, grade 3 Tampa Bay, 8-5 favorite, the undefeated Shea Pierre. But let's talk verbal for a moment. For Chad Brown, the 8 in here, who we last saw April at Keeneland, been off since. Won the first 2 starts of his career, got beat in that Transylvania, and then went to the bench.
Yeah, you know, this is a horse that Chad Brown was extremely high on. He was actually very frustrated, as I recall. He did not get into the Breeders' Cup, into the juvenile turf race. And his figures obviously weren't that good, but I think you got to be careful about getting caught up with 2-year-old route turf figures. And he got a lousy trip in his last race at Keeneland, but you know, he's running against a tough seasoned field of turf horses, and I don't, it's a tough, even for Chad Brown, this is a tough ask of a horse.
He was also running off in the post race. I didn't like to see that.
Even after being gelded.
Yeah.
Big number, 11-1.
It is a generous price. You're right.
But it certainly is a tall order here, tackling much more seasoned runners. Let's go to JK.
Well, my 2 on-track friends with blonde hair are now confusing me, right? Because I thought that I was excited about the idea that Acacia had mentioned that Verbal looked a little bit lighter. He used to look heavy. Then my other on-track friend in Maggie says the horse was being a little aggressive in the post-parade. So now I don't know what to do. Hopefully Acacia can clean this up for me after this. She was there on track. Yeah, look, Andy kind of mentioned it. I think this horse showed some talent. I'm not overly concerned with figures when it comes to 2-year-olds who are now 3-year-olds. There's obviously going to be an increase in figure just by maturity. And if there was an issue that needed to be taken care of with the gelding, and then now this horse has had some opportunity to be with Chad a little bit longer, and for Chad to kind of work out some of the kinks, I just feel like Verbal is the type of horse that is supposed to improve. The problem is that we talked about it a little bit earlier with that Todd Pletcher runner, the first-time starter. When Chad shows up with the Juddmonte Silks on, he's not supposed to be 11-1. I don't care who's in the race. He's not supposed to be 11-1. And look, I'm not saying I have a problem betting an 11-1 shot. It's just that I would expect the horse to be around 5-1 if he was as live as I feel like he is in my brain when I woke up. So Hopefully I confuse you a little bit more. I'm still going to bet the 8 in here to win. Acacia, can you help me out a little bit?
I will try, Jonathan. I did really like what I saw from Verbal coming back off the layoff with the gelding. That was the point that really stuck out to me. But Maggie's absolutely right. He was a little aggressive out there. He's settled a lot now. It could also be that he's fresh coming back off a layoff, but Chad Brown horses are supposed to be well schooled with the pony and out on the track, and they're supposed to mind their manners, so to speak. But I do think that the ultimate equipment change, so to speak, and maybe just a little bit of time, hopefully physically and mentally, helped him. And I don't mind Chad's other horse in here either, though he has to deal with that post. But wanted to touch on Win From Within, who I know Andy and Maggie had some interest in, because he's a horse that I've gotten to see plenty of times throughout his career. And when he's acting well is when he runs well, when he has a little bit more energy versus looking dull back in the paddock. He's incredibly fit. I thought he held on really well last time out in the Fort Lauderdale after setting the pace, and he had that kind of brightness, that alertness about him that he has when he runs his best races. So interested to see. I think that he is naturally much faster than the likes of Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. The horse he has to worry about in the front end is the horse inside of him, Mighty Heart. He's the only one in this race that could put pressure on him. Mighty Heart's pretty quick too, but he's faster than him. I like the number 4 in this race, the horse Win From Within, and I think it's an interesting spot for him. 5-1, not a great price. I think the 15-1 on Field Pass. Let me just say something about Verbal. I threw him in protectively. I think he's supposed to be 30 or 40-1, frankly, in this race. And if it wasn't Chad Brown, and Chad Brown matters, he'd be a huge, huge price in here. The idea that he's 11-1 and Field Pass is 15-1, to me, that's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Field Pass is absolutely more likely to win this race.
Millionaire on the grass.
In my opinion.
Whose best form is still right there.
He ran fine his last grass race. He did not have a good trip that day.
I got a little love from my man, Golden Alchemist. I think he is a turf horse through and through. We'll see what he does here.
He's a better post.
Yeah, that's a brutal post. But he'll be settling in, hopefully, hopefully saving some ground and getting over behind the speed.
Meanwhile, the 10, Shea Pierre, putting that perfect record on the line. He dusted a field at a stake the last time we saw him, but that was in April of last year. Daniel Centeno rides. Let's go to Jason Beam for the Grade 3 Tampa Bay.
And in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Tampa Bay Stakes. Win From Within, sent for speed in the early going. Drama Chorus up from the outside is quick. And Mighty Heart up part of the early gallop as well as they come toward the stretch for the first time. It's Win From Within just in front. Mighty Heart down toward the inside. Up on the far outside, Drama Chorus is now joining the front ranks. As they go by the wire the first time, it's Win From Within and Drama Chorus. Those are the two that go on best. Shea Pierre up from the outside. Mighty Heart, Emmanuel just in between them is the joint fourth. Down along the inside, starting over, cut the corner nicely, moves up from fifth, then comes Verbal in sixth. It's 2.5 more lengths then. Back to Golden Alchemist. Inside of that one, Field Pass, a length and a half back to He's Pure Gold, who has 2 beat. Those are Kentucky Ghost and Barberini Trails. 5 furlongs left to go in the Tampa Bay Stakes. Drama Chorus, Win From Within. They exchanged punches through a 22-3. Opening quarter mile, starting over Mighty Heart and Shea Pierre. Those three line up just in behind the top 2. It's 2 more back to Emmanuel, who's joined on the inside by Verbal. The top 7 only covered by 3.5 or 4. Then comes Field Pass, who's down toward the inside. Golden Alchemist is outside of that one, running along in ninth. He's Pure Gold, Kentucky Ghost, and Barberini at the back. Win From Within, pressure throughout from Drama Chorus. Here's Shea Pierre starting to launch up on the outside, and the favorite Shea Pierre coming after the leaders as they're just outside of the quarter pole. Trying to follow that move is Emmanuel, who's out 4 deep. They come to the top of the stretch. Here's Shea Pierre up on the outside. Win From Within, cut the corner. Down along the inside, starting over. Here's Emmanuel right down the crown of the track, trying to come after these leaders, and Emmanuel comes up after the lead. Emmanuel just in front. Win From Within battles on. Golden Alchemist down the outside. Verbal is made up several lengths, but Emmanuel is in front. Emmanuel and Javier Castellano are going to win the Tampa Bay Stakes by almost 2 in the end. Win From Within in a photo there with Golden Alchemist for second and third. Verbal looked to be fourth.
Emmanuel from off the pace. Todd Pletcher, Javier Castellano, WinStar and Sienna Farm.
I couldn't like this horse, Andy. I know.
They ran again, I wouldn't bet. I bet against him again.
Obviously took a big step forward in this 4-year-old bow.
No, this is a completely different race that he ran. His first grass race, wouldn't be in a picture right now. And he ran really well in here. I got to give him credit. He really ran well. He got a good trip. But he ran well and buried me. I mean, I had used, I think, was Golden the horse?
Alchemist was second or third.
Yeah,
the 4 was
with the 4.
game,
He ran
though.
very well. Winfried
Yeah.
was terrific in there.
He was.
He just wasn't as good as the winner was much the best. And I had used, I think Verbal was between them, right? I think Verbal was 4th. Was that
Was
Verbal
he?
4th?
I
thought
don't know.
he might have been. I
He's
wasn't
helping
sure.
out with him, so maybe.
I've used the 4 with the 2 Chad Browns, a little bit of savers, but I can't complain because I hated Emmanuel so much and he galloped.
Huge
Tough
effort
game.
from Emmanuel, 4-year-old debut, and a horse who all his prior success had been showing his speed, doing it very differently today.
Yeah, well, he wasn't going to get the lead from the 4. That was, and obviously Todd and Javier knew that. They had to have a different tactic, and he was impressive. And I'll tell you something else. Shea Pierre may have needed the race, but he better have needed the race because he loomed up and he was dead empty top of the stretch.
Emmanuel in the Grade 3 Tampa Bay for Pletcher. With Castellano aboard, we'll have more on this race when we return. You're watching America's Day of the Races on FS2. Stay with us.
Here comes Malathaat. Here comes Clariere on the outside. They're coming to the finish, and it's going to be Clariere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. Cody's Wish on the outside. Cody's Wish with the upset in the Fargo. Malathaat grabs the lead in deep stretch, and Malathaat has won the Personal Ensign Stakes.
Curling, the classic sire.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by NYRA Bets. Bet a track anywhere, anytime. We've confirmed.
Gator. I think we should name him Emmanuel.
I want to know his name.
He doesn't have a name.
He doesn't?
No, they tweeted something out about let's name our Gator.
I wish that Emmanuel was as
shocking.
slow as he is, actually.
Because he's been there for
It's
years.
very helpful to me.
Most famous resident of Oldsmar, Florida. What a performance by Emmanuel. And you just heard not just a win, but
A
record-setting
new
win.
Track record, lowering it by 2/5 of a second, a record that had been held for 24 years nearly. So a huge performance by Emmanuel today.
It's always nice to lose to horses that set new track records.
Might be
Doesn't
hearing
make you feel
some
better or
more from
worse.
Emmanuel.
The way he ran today, he looked very
down
good.
the line this year. Back at Oaklawn, do we have a new player on the Triple Crown Trail now?
Well, once again, I always want to see what the figures come back, and I haven't been paying attention to times or anything down there, so I'll withhold judgment, because on the surface of things, Bourbon Bash, not exactly a horse I would make a Triple Crown player, but you have to like the fact that he was able to rate good trip or not, different running style, and he won, and he got it done like he was supposed to, but I'll wait and see the figs, because no matter how you cut it, he did get completely buried by Verifying last time, though he may be a major player.
Gotta wonder, where do we see him next, Greg? Do they? I would think the Rebel might be
It's pretty
a
quick comeback,
turnaround.
yeah.
Would they go to Louisiana? No, because that's.
Isn't the Rebel the first weekend in March?
Nope, it's the last weekend.
Oh, they
in
moved
February.
it up? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess they're going to ship the horse out of town.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't really go with him.
You can bring him here for the Gotham if he wants.
Eh?
You're welcome.
Back at Tampa, Emmanuel, impressive in victory. As Maggie mentioned, new course record in the process for Todd Pletcher, Windstar Farm, Sienna Farm, and Javier Castellano. Boy, I'm just blew by this field.
This was a joke. He was an hour the best in here.
It looks as though we're seeing a different horse now as a 4-year-old. He showed a completely new dimension, which I was adamant that he was a need the lead type. And I mean, you could make a fair argument based upon his PPs, but it was good to see him, maybe to our chagrin, take that step forward, be a different horse today, and one that's going to be competitive in these grass divisions.
And to be fair, he's just a better horse. I mean, just a totally different horse than we saw in here. Win from there, then it went down to 7-2.
Let's go to Acacia.
I'm pleased to be joined by winning rider Javier Castellano. Emmanuel, a new sort of tactic from him today, too, coming from off the pace. Was that always the game plan to take him off of the lead?
It really was. I've been talking with Tom. We watched the race together and watched the replay a little bit. It seemed to me a lot of speed today in the race. The 4 horses get the speed, kind of dictate the pace. I just want to be a little bit off the pace, save all the ground the best I could, and try to step up my outside and go for. We have a plan. We stick with the plan. Thank God everything worked out the right way.
This was your first time climbing aboard him, but I know that you watched his races and were familiar with this horse, but it seems like he came back a bigger, stronger horse this year.
It really did. Actually, I have an opportunity. Thank God I have a good opportunity to work the horse last week, and Ty gave me the opportunity to work the horse in Palm Beach last week, and I knew the horse a little bit. It seemed to me the horse is more relaxed. He's going to give you more the kick to you, and I think that's exactly what I think the plan. Worked out great. Beautiful trip. Perfect trip. Thank you for that. Give me opportunity to ride the horse, and very lucky, fortunate to be in the right place in the right time.
As a rider, does it give you more confidence when you've had the opportunity to work that horse coming into it?
Absolutely, especially for the big racer. I never had opportunity to ride a horse and able to work the horse in the morning. You seem to me you have the good feeling, you got the good ready with the horse, and you get more a little familiar with the horse. I think that's a big advantage, and that's a good age for the jockeys to work the horses in the morning and get familiar with the horse in the afternoon.
Well, it all played out well today. Congratulations, Javier.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Javier Castellano making the most of this trip to Tampa Bay Downs, Greg.
We talked about him a lot, especially this past summer at Saratoga. We don't have that award, but if there was a comeback rider of the year, it was that man right there.
No, I agree. He really, I think when he just finally got healthy, he got back to riding at his top of his game.
Right, and to with the assistance of his agent PJ Campo, PJ really and him really have a really good working relationship. They talk races out, they talk horses out, and it's led to a lot of success. And the one thing about Javier, as you saw in that interview, he is not shy to work.
We got more coming up. Feature from Oaklawn still to come in that Distaff division. Lovely ride, trying to make it 3 stakes wins in a row at this meet. Do us all her work on the front end, but before we get there, we have the 8th coming up at Oaklawn. 6 furlong sprint, 50,000 claiming race for non-winners of 2 lifetime. We'll have the post-parade for you when we come back. Stick with us. More America's Day at the Races on FS2 next.
Level of racing that he's achieved is extremely rare. Anybody who's witnessed Mitole running sees a level of ability that doesn't come along that often.
Mitole's a monster! Mitole wins the sprint! Oh, what a horse he is! Mitole, he did it again! Wins the mid-mile!
The only thing to be better than one Mitole is a few Mitoles.
The mighty Mitole, who won the Fargo by 3.5 lengths, the new stakes record.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. all at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
The Factor, a top 10 General Active sire in 2020. His progeny include Grade 1 winner Sistron, Grade 1 winner Noted and Quoted, Grade 2 winner Factor This, and Grade 2 winner Charmaine's Mia. With dozens of 6-digit yearling sales, he's a proven sire on the track and in the sales ring. The Factor, a leader of his generation, standing at Lane's End.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Features still to come at Oaklawn. That's the Grade 3 Bayakoa in the Distaff division. Before we get there, race 8, 6 furlong sprint, as we told you going to break. Non-winners at 2 lifetime, the condition here, and Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana Jr. looking to get to the winner's circle again here with Concept, who's the 9-5 favorite, the 12.
Big drop down, set a very fast pace last time, Greg. I did not have a good handle on this race. In the end, I would just default to this horse.
Yeah, my problem is I'm a little bit suspect to some of these horses coming in from Fairgrounds, running back to these numbers. I mean, I thought the 8 Commander Carl was very dangerous, a private purchase going to Robertino Diodoro, a horse that ran fast enough, 2 back. I'll be honest with you, I thought there were a number of interesting horses here. Mr. Creed cutting back off the claim. St. Andrews, I didn't even think was impossible, who was in an impossible spot off the claim last time out, but he was claimed from Robertino.
And if Touch Code breaks, he's a player. It's just, will he break?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not way against a lot of horses in here. I can see a lot of winners, like you said.
Here's Touch Code last time out. This is January 14th at Oaklawn. Tried to do it on the front end and just missed to pop a rocket.
Like I said, if he breaks, you see he's involved, he runs well, but he hasn't broke in 5 of his last 7. So the odds aren't really in your favor.
And of course, in this race, he was up front, he was on the lead. He's gonna have company here, it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. Concept is not slow. Commander Carl is not slow. It just felt like there were several horses that could go here. And as Andy's pointed out, St. Andrews is kind of interesting because he's the turn back and he's the one that could benefit if they're going pretty quick up front.
5-1 on St. Andrews right now. As we get set for our post parade coming up, we're going to see Boat Song here in a moment.
Yeah, Boat Song looks like he's overmatched. He just doesn't seem fast enough.
Yeah, Boat Song, Hawthorne winner last time out to finally break his maiden career start number 70. Was favored in that spot. It's a tough, deep waters to jump into off that performance.
You guys ever been to Hawthorne?
I have not.
Me neither.
It's the only track left to go there.
Either.
No?
Period.
Oh, I've been there. I've been to Arlington a number of times.
Sad I never got to.
Because of Jerry Garcia, I went to a lot of different cities.
Here is
President Deadhead.
Here is Boat Song going by. Here's St. Andrews, so 5-1 on this one, turning back.
I don't love that it's an ex-Robertino Diodoro horse, but I do like the turn back.
Deuce Ex Machina dropping down in class makes this one dangerous a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we saw him in for a tag, he easily broke his maiden in that 30, and it's just been facing better.
Breslau, I believe is how you pronounce it, cutting back in distance as well off the claim.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the trainer. Turning back from a route to a sprint off the claim, he's 0 for 10, but 7 to hit the board, to be fair.
Mr. Creed, another cutback horse.
Yeah, hasn't had much experience at all sprinting. And first off the claim here for Martin Villafranco. He's had a good trip until the 3/16 pole and had a wall of traffic.
Dad and son together again. Crow's Nest for the Asmussens.
Yeah, this horse should be a million to one in here. I can't believe he's only 18 to one, to be honest.
This horse out on the West Coast ran a huge figure to break his maiden, did not back it up against Winners.
And looking at that field, it seemed as though that they were kind of on par to this field here, and he was well beaten by them.
Lucky Dude, 16 to 1. Kylie Jordan rides.
Yeah, coming off a maiden win, it's tough to make that maiden win and switch over here, though he did run a reasonable figure last time, not sure where it came from.
We showed you Touch Code's race last time out.
I echo what Maggie said. And the other problem with him is overall, he's just not really good enough. I know he had a big figure last time, but most of his numbers just aren't that good.
And here's the one to beat on the board at 2 to 1. Concept Asmus and Ricardo Santana Jr.
He looked good from what I see from him on the track there. Pretty aggressive, but physically looks tremendous here. I don't even think he necessarily needs the lead to win. As he's drawn favorably to the outside, he can kind of watch what plays out to his inside.
3 minutes to post here in this 8th coming up. Let's go to Paulie.
Yeah, I think Maggie makes a really good point in here. When you get to the 12, Ricardo Santana looking for a triple on the day, and Steve Asmussen looking for back-to-back wins. The worry that you have with this horse is that, you know, he's never really passed horses or sat off horses and won. So now does he try to get to the front end? There is a lot of speed in here. I'd even include the one that has sneaky little speed along with Commander Carl, the 8. I also think Touch Code, the 11, is a big player in here. This horse has similar kind of form than another David Vance runner had that won yesterday that we kind of did not like, that got taken off the pace and won. And this horse has had gait issues. When he breaks, he runs well. So I think he's got a look in here. The Robertina Diodoro horse, the wild card horse in here, right? This is a horse that ran against Hopkins first time out, a Bob Baffert trainer that's very, very talented. And then he went into the $50,000 claimers and wired him in the Dan Blacker barn. Now he's in the Robertina Diodoro barn. We've seen some of these California horses come here and have been effective. Now, Peter Miller have shipped some here. They have not done that well. The Robertinos claimed some, laid them up a little bit, and they've come back and they have fired in here. So, you know, what's going to give in here with all these horses maybe going to the front end? Is there going to be a speed duel? A lot of times when you think there is, there isn't. I do think the 6 is very interesting. Mr. Creed, Martin Villafranco, is having a sneaky, decent little meet where Gennaro Garcia is really not. So I thought that the 6 could kind of move up in here. And, you know, I also was looking at a couple other horses in here. That would be the 3, St. Andrews. I'm along with you guys. If there's going to be a pace meltdown, to me, it's the 3 or so. But I am going to stick with the favorite in here to get the job done. Jonathan, I'll give a little bit of a thought to the 8 or 11, but the 12 is the horse to beat.
Yeah, I completely agree, Paulie, with the 12 concept drawn towards the outside. There seems to be a little bit of speed in here, but if I feel like I have the best speed and I'm drawn outside, I'm not totally worried about a meltdown because Ricardo has some options drawn outside. The thing I like about the 12 concept is, you know, in racing, the most dependable thing, in my opinion, is speed figures. The higher, the better. It's a way to make the times make sense as you switch between distances and different racetrack configurations. The higher, the better. Concept does have a fast final speed figure, but there's also pace figures, which does the same thing, but also tells you how fast a race is run in the first part of the race, the middle of the race, so on and so forth. Concept ran extremely fast early last time. And when you run that fast early, it tells me that you used a lot of energy. And if you were still able to finish your race as well as you were, then you really ran well. I know it might not look great on paper. 4th, beaten 7, but he really earned it out there with that fast early pace. And I think he's going to be dangerous from the outside. They can go fast. And I think he'll be able to see what's going on, sit outside of him, and finish at that kind of perfect Oaklawn, stalking, 3-wide trip. I like the 12 concept. We should have played an Asmussen double, with that last race with Gun Pilot.
We'll tell you in about, a minute, 10 seconons?
Pretty chalky, eh?
Yeah.
I think $7 or so.
I'm playing doubles into
$4?
La Vida. That's my play.
But Andy, are you against the 12 in here concept, or
I don't want to say I'm strongly against him. I won't be surprised if he wins, but I mean, I don't totally trust a race at Fairgrounds to come here. I mean, I think he's got to get the right trip in here. You look at his last race, the pace basically held together fairly well. I'm not against him, but I don't think he's a 2-to-1 shot in this field. I just thought it was a more competitive race than that, to be honest.
Back to JK's double, by the way. So was it 3-5 on the last winner?
Yeah.
3-5 and now 2-to-1 favorite. If you did play this double, you're getting 6-1, but you need them both to win. We'll see what happens. And back to a horse that has looked so good on the track. So here's the favorite. Still looking good to you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I get, taking a short price on him isn't that enticing, but man, I was having trouble seeing past him on paper, Greg. I'm having trouble seeing past him even more so watching him.
He just looks muscular too.
He's a beast out there. You would have to think. I would think he gets claimed. I would think.
50,000 for anyone that wants to take their shot and take him to their barn. Should be. I mean, this horse 21-4 opening quarter. That was at Fairgrounds, but you would think the outside post too. He's going to have options there.
Yeah.
Back down to 9-5. We still have at Tampa Bay their finale coming up. Race 10 mile on the grass. It's a first allowance condition race. So we'll stay tuned for that as well. We have a lot of show left.
Lots of time together. Plenty of time.
We're going to be relying on Paul to get some interviews after these races.
We found out that Norm Cassie's horse did get claimed earlier today,
yes,
by the way.
we
never
did.
finished that
Cactus
up.
was claimed.
Yes.
That
$300,000 debut.
for 30
wow.
in a 12-way shake. Wow. I wonder how many went in here on Concept. I mean, 50,000 is a bit for a lot of people to play with, but this horse has some back races, and you're always looking for a horse, a dirt horse at the end of the day.
I mean, looking at the rest of this board here, Concept to me looks tremendous too. But Commander Carl, that maiden win. I mean, that was a big effort from the 8.
Yeah, I was interested in the 8 here. I mean, I know he's not taking a ton of money, but I thought a private purchase for Robertino Diodoro was an interesting horse. Not that Dan Blacker. I mean, obviously Dan wins at a pretty high percentage. It's not like it's some gigantic trainer improvement, but I thought he was an interesting horse of private purchase.
I just like who bred him. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Trish Mosley.
That's sort of random, huh?
Yeah.
Usually Brendan Walsh has those horses, right? Is that right?
And Mr. Morley.
Oh, does he? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, La Moneda.
Oh, yeah, La Moneda. God.
Curbstone.
Yeah. Love La Moneda.
Yeah.
Now down to 8-5. As the late money coming in on Concept. Feature still to come in the Bayakoa. Right now it's the 8th. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
2 more now, Mr. Creed and Concept. Having a tough time getting touch code in the gate. Now he's ready. Here comes Mr. Creed and Concept. They're at the post. They're off. Concept broke well, so did Commander Carl and St. Andrews. Deus Ex Machina is next, then Breslau and Lucky Dude. At the Rail Boat Song, then Touch Code, followed by Crow's Nest, and the trailer is Mr. Creed, and the leader is Commander Carl. Commander Carl, a length and 3/4 in front of Concept in second. Boat Song moves through at the rail, and he's a tugging third, and Boat Song's going to get in a very, very tight spot. This could be bad for Boat Song. He's going to have to back out of there. St. Andrews and Breslau are next. then Deus Ex Machina. He's in the red, 6th and 4 from the front. 3 back to Lucky Dude. Touch Code was never happy today. Acted up in the gate, and he's backed out last. Mr. Creed passes him. Top of the stretch, Concept, Breslau, and Commander Carl. Concept ahead in front. Breslau runs up on the outside. These two are now 2 in front of Commander Carl. Mr. Creed has 3 lengths to make up, and Breslau and Concept come to the final furlong. Breslau is outside. Concept inside. Santana trying for his 4th on the day, and he's going to have to work because Breslau is now a half length in front. Concept is back to 2nd. Then comes Boat Song in the 3rd. It is Breslau who gets away to win. Breslau won by 3 1/4. Concept 2nd. Boatsong a good 3rd. Mr. Creed finished 4th.
Breslau, wow, where did this performance come from? Abdul's Concept for the victory, pulls away.
Well, now the trainer is, at least on the
1
stats
for
that
11.
I had, I had 1 for now 13 first after the claim route to sprints.
Yeah, I in Oaklawn, he's now 1 for 7. But interestingly enough, even though he's 0 for 6, 5 of them four of them had run second at decent prices. They run well. He ran well today.
Took some money,
How about
7 to
the 1?
1. Yeah.
How about the 1 with all that trouble going into the turn and rallies for 3rd?
We'll have those prices coming up. Their feature is next. That's the Grade 3 Bayakoa, and we have the nightcap coming up from Tampa Bay. Again, Mile on the Turf entry-level allowance race from Oldsmar, Florida. Stay with us.
Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf, War of Will became a classic winner with this victory in the Preakness Stakes. He added turf credentials to his resume with a determined victory in the Grade 1 Maker's Mark Mile. Now his first weanlings are commanding attention in the sales ring.
Right here, 280,000.
191,000.
165,000.
160,000. Thank you.
A dual surface classic winning son of Warfront, War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. We have the finale coming up at Tampa Bay. Features still to come out at Oaklawn. This race in Oldsmar, Florida, Mile on the Turf. First allowance condition. Here's Truly Mischief.
Yeah, Truly Mischief stretching out from sprints to routes. Going to be tough. Going to have to improve.
Favorite just in time for Wine.
Venerable New York bred has that early speed inside post, 1 to catch.
28 to 1. Next story here on King Ramos.
Yes, is not looking fast enough based on the turf races.
Demir taking some play, the 4 to 1.
I mean, last turf race especially, huge figure, but is it an outlier? Will he be able to recreate that?
Good question.
Constant Night. We're looking for answers, not questions, Maggie. 1 for 24 on Constant Night on the grass.
Clearly don't have them. One thing I can say is that Constant Night is not going to be a player.
He's
here.
been looking for his second win for a long time.
Long time. I feel like I've watched him for ages. He's 9 now. Oh my goodness.
Here's Tallahatchie Bridge. Blinkers coming off.
He's a bit of a wild card here. He has a couple races that give him a chance.
7-1. This is Mom's Moon.
Yeah, for Rusty Arnold, if you're looking for, a lesser exposed type, Mom's Moon does get back to the turf. It's just, it was in tougher spots, as I know Andy's interested in New York Bred next.
Yeah. I like
Battle Scars with the first 2 starts of his career.
I like Battle Scars. I'm kind of wasting a condition running this New York Bred. This horse was out of conditions 2 back here, ran huge 3 back with a crazy trip. I don't know what went wrong last time, though.
And Raising Moon, 9-2, the 10.
Yeah, Raising Moon, certainly a kind of consistent type, especially for this level, is 4-1 currently. Don't mind him here.
Also eligible draws in here at 37-1.
Oh, yeah, that's a 12. I was like, Andy, this is you.
It's all yours, Mag.
Yeah, I would say I would go on the no comment line with it. With Call Bros.
Yeah, not a lot to love. Let's check in for Acacia. Done a tremendous job. Great having you on the pro ring again today, Acacia.
Thanks a lot, Greg. It's been a lot of fun and always fun being here at Tampa Bay Downs. We'll be back next weekend as well, which I'm really looking forward to. Of course, it is the day of the Sam F. Davis, but we'll also have the Suncoast for the 3-year-old fillies, and we'll have a champion running in that race too. Wonder Wheel, who winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies and the Eclipse Award champion for 2-year-old filly, will be making the first start of her 3-year-old season in the Suncoast. I got a chance to go to Mark Cassie's training center in Ocala yesterday and hang out with Wonder Wheel for a little bit, and she is a very big daughter of Into Mischief. He said she's almost 17 hands, and she looks incredibly fit. She's very sharp. She's been training at Mark's training center in Ocala, so it's about a 2-hour drive, a little bit less, here to Tampa Bay Downs, and that'll be the stepping stone for her to potentially go on to the Ashland and the ultimate goal of the Kentucky Oaks. So pretty excited to get a chance to see a champion here at Tampa Bay Downs next weekend for Mark Cassie. It looks like Wonder Wheel is doing well. Should be a fun weekend. It's been a great day today. I've had a lot of people stop me and say, thanks for coming to Tampa Bay Downs, which is always really, really nice to hear, Greg.
It's been great to bring you their coverage. They had a tremendous card this afternoon. Back to Wonder Wheel for a moment. That was the race that Nest used for her 3-year-old debut last year on her way to a tremendous championship season. Wonder Wheel 4 for 5. Quickly, your thoughts on her?
As Acacia pointed out, she is a big filly. It's good to hear her say that she's kind of gone on even a bit more, because, we talk about Nest coming out party as a 3-year-old a bit in the Suncoast, then with that huge performance in the Alcibiades. We may have seen, I don't want to say it's going to be her best performance, but she really took a big step forward in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
She did. She had gotten very good trips and been a horse that needed to be forward in her races, and she came from well back in there, and she was very impressive. So I'll be honest, I think that changed my opinion of her, that last race. I think if she can continue on with those kind of efforts and move forward, she's a player.
I thought that was one of the more unexpected things we saw the entire Breeders' Cup weekend, the way she did it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I bet the second horse at about 30-1, so I was really happy about it.
And I like the fact that she's been preparing at Mark's, Cassie, her trainer, his training center in Ocala. I always feel as though the horses he brings out of there come back ready to run and usually run well off the bench.
So that's next weekend on the road to the Kentucky Oaks, the Suncoast, and on the road to the Derby with the Sam F. Davis. Right now it's the nightcap, still 2-1 favoritism with this New York bred, 5-time winner on the grass. Just in time for Wine. Going to try and control from the outset and go gate to wire here.
I'm all in on Battle Scars. I love Battle Scars.
New York bred exacta?
I don't like Just in Time for Wine.
All right.
The horse just stopped last time. I was supposed to take him at 2-1 here. Not for me.
Battle Scars the 9, 6-1. Pablo Morales aboard. Finale from this card here at Tampa Bay. Let's go to Jason Beam for the call.
Saturday card next week. Raising Moon goes up. Constant Night is in, waiting on Call Bros, and Matty Rowland to the outside, just about set to close out. Day number 40 of the season, just about in the books. Battle Scars, Tallahatchie Bridge, both acting up in the gate, but settle down. They're in the gate. Fractious also King Ramos. And the race is on. Good start for Demir in the center, who goes out for the early lead. Just in time for Wine is forwardly placed as they come by us for the first time. And up from the outside, Call Bros. Constant Night right there in that second flight as well. As it's Demir just in front. Down toward the inside, just in time for Wine, coming through to challenge. Those two 1-2 as they run to that turn, just in time for Wine. In a tight spot there at the rail, but still just up with the leader. It's a length and a half more to King Ramos, who's out in third. Constant Night, Call Bros. They're fourth and fifth and about 4.5 off the lead. It's a break of 2 more back to Truly Mischief. Tallahatchie Bridge gets to that one's inside. Then comes Racing Moon, who's third last. Mom's Moon and Battle Scars, those two share the back. 5 furlongs left to go, 22 and 3 for the opening quarter mile. Demir, just in time for Wine, continues to pull at the rider. Been an eventful trip here for just in time for Wine, who's still right up there with the lead. Length and a half more back to King Ramos, who gets a good spot in third. Constant Night, Tallahatchie Bridge progressing down along the inside. Those two fourth and fifth, and just 3 lengths off the top. Then comes Call Bros. Truly Mischief, Raising Moon going to be cast out about 4 wide as they run into that turn. 46 and 3 for that opening half mile. Demir just in time for Wine. Those two been 1-2 throughout as they have 5/16 of a mile to go. Tallahatchie Bridge going to swing toward the outside now from third. Truly Mischief starting to make up some ground, fourth on the outside. Raising Moon continues a wide journey as they come to the top of the stretch. Demir still just in front, just in time for Wine. Battle Scars comes through down toward the inside. Got a nice opening, going to try to come through. Has to get to Demir. It's Demir just in front. Battle Scars toward the inside. Tallahatchie Bridge down the outside as well. Demir is still in front. Battle Scars toward the inside. Tallahatchie Bridge. Demir looking for the wire. Tallahatchie Bridge right over the top. Got to Demir. Then came Battle Scars long way back to multiple photos for fourth and fifth.
Tallahatchie Bridge. Blinkers coming off. Saffie Joseph Jr., Sam Camacho.
Talk about timing being his friend. And 2, Andy, with Battle Scars, we were just talking. Yes, it opens up there when they cross the chute, but he just didn't want any part of it, and the momentum was all to the outside horse.
Yeah, you don't want. Listen, it was a good ride by Morales to the 9. He saved ground, but you want to tip out, and it's never the right move to go inside like that. Rarely, I should say. Horses don't want to close it towards the inside, and but the Raising Race was the race by the 4 Demir. I guess his last was legit.
And the biggest story is what the heck was going on with the favorite just in time for
some ride by Paco.
Strange ride, and yeah, obviously was having some issues there. Paco Lopez seemed to be strangling the horse a bit, then let the horse have some rein, and wow, just not today for just in time for Wine. Tallahatchie Bridge, your winner. We'll have the prices for you when we come back. Grade 3 Bayakoa still to come from Oaklawn Park.
Sire Sensation Gunrunner is the sire of 6 first crop Grade 1 winners.
God-eye, and he's going to win the hopeful Red Zulu wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and Cyberknife has won the Haskell. Society is going to win the Cotillion, and ta-da, they win the Bathurst, Pennsylvania Derby. Early voting comes inside and wins it. He wins the Preakness.
Horse of the Year, Gunrunner, standing at 3 chimneys.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Caroconti has potential to be a leading turf stallion in America. Caroconti proved with Spenderella that he can produce an international caliber horse that can run all over the world.
Spenderella hanging tough with the advantage to win the Appalachian.
I've been fortunate enough to train some top fillies and mares. Spenderella is right up there with the best of them.
Spenderella turns it into a procession.
I think Caroconti is a horse who has tremendous potential.
Caroconti, standing at Gainesway.
Tampa Bay Downs has a rich thoroughbred horse racing history in Florida dating back to 1926. Celebrities such as Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and John Ringling all attended opening day. In 1981, Hall of Fame jockey Julie Crone won her first career race here, and in 2007, we saw Street Sense win the Tampa Bay Derby and go on later that year to win the Kentucky Derby. Featuring full fields, great turf racing, and a 15% takeout on our Pick 5, Tampa Bay Downs has live racing every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Thanks for being with us on this Saturday afternoon. Nightcap in the books at Tampa Bay Downs. Ramsey Homebred. Tallahatchie Bridge with the victory here with Sammy Camacho.
Is that a song? Is that ode to Bobby Joe or Billy Joe or something? The Tallahatchie Bridge or something? Bobby Gentry, is that right? Mitch says?
You're trusting Mitch?
No, that's your good point. You make a great point.
Yeah, and I think, a story with Demir as well. Looks as though jumping up in class off of a big win last time for 16, that he is legit. He's found some good form.
And he benefited from that insane ride on Just in Time for Wine.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Yeah. It's as simple to ride a horse like that. You just go.
You just go, and then you grab his face off, and then you engage in a duel.
That was bizarre.
He can be good at, like we saw with Surprisingly, and then he cannot be so good.
Card in the books at Tampa Bay. We have the main event coming up from Oaklawn next. Grade 3 Bayakoa, fillies and mares, and Lovely Ride trying to make it 3 straight stakes wins here at the meet for Robertino Diodoro. We'll be back.
Introducing Giftbox, winner of the Grade 1 Santa Anita Handicap. He's a 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire with 4 triple-digit buyers and a 4 Ragozin to his name. He proved himself early as a graded stakes place 2-year-old, and now his career as a stallion is just getting started. From the first crop of the leading sire Twirling Candy out of a multiple graded stakes producing mare. Giftbox, only at Lane's End.
Bayakoa, who comes for home now, entering the final furlong, and Gorgeous with a bold late run toward the rail. Bayakoa is put to a fierce drive, trying to hold on by 2. Gorgeous trying to catch her, running out of ground. Bayakoa is got it. Bayakoa wins.
What a performance from the great Bayakoa in the 1989 Breeders' Cup. Distaff won the Apple Blossom at Oaklawn that year as well.
I love that we went back almost 25 years to find one of the stupidest bets I ever made in my life to not hit this pick 3.
Did you not use
I used
Bayakoa?
Gorgeous and Open Mind. I got Dancing Spree home at $38 in the sprint, and I singled Go for One. She won the juvenile fillies. And you're right, Bayakoa was a tremendous horse. She and Gorgeous had some really nice battles out in California. It was actually out at Santa Anita in February in '90. And they had a match. They met a few times that winter.
I love she runs with her tongue out. She always had that kind of funny head carriage, and it just looked like she was all out all the time, nothing but heart.
Yeah, she was wonderful. I think it was the beginning of pick 3s, believe it or not. They'd sort of just started, so I obviously was betting them like an idiot back then.
Champion.
Like now.
Older male, 1989 and 90, back-to-back indeed. What an incredible performer and a resume to match. We got the race named in her honor coming up at Oaklawn in this Distaff Division. Grade 3 Bayakoa ABR Race of the Week. And we'll see if Lovely Ride for Robertino Diodoro. She's been one of the great stories of this meet. If she can do it again. She won the Mistletoe, the Pippin, Gate to Wire in both. Now can she add a Grade 3?
Not sure. If she was posted inside in both of those victories. Now she's on the far outside with other horses with speed in here.
Well, here's Ice Orchid, who right now is the favorite. Just missed against Lovely Ride in that race. Lovely Ride was alone on the lead. She'll get more pace to run into today.
I think she shows how much that speed bias helped last time out when you consider how much her figure improved being on top of that very moderate pace.
I don't get her as a favorite, that's for certain. I mean, is it short-leaf stable Johnny Ortiz love in here? It's not like Johnny is having the best of meets, relative to what we saw from him last year.
She's probably going to be second choice looking at the doubles, but I listen, maybe she's just rounding into form, and if you like her, you're betting a little on the come, and maybe she's just an improving horse.
She's the 5 here chasing in second. Behind her lay Davida, who made up a ton of ground late to get third after she was sort of slow into it early on in the race.
Yeah, and that has been her problem in her last 2, but maybe today it actually works out in her favor being the one making that last run. As I've said, she is a mare that does not like to switch leads, which I think is a bit of a detriment.
It reminds me a little of Search Results, right? Wasn't there a situation with her where she used to not switch leads in the races? I remember that was an issue with her as a 3-year-old. I don't think it was an issue this year.
No,
it was an issue as a 3-year-old a little bit.
Meanwhile, a Mo Ray, Brad Cox took over. First start since moving from Pletcher to Cox was in the Pago Hop at Fairgrounds. Was meant for the grass. It came off. It was a wet track, and she dominated this group. We've talked about it a lot. Not the deepest group. These are certainly deeper waters today.
Right. She beat a Louisiana bred that would come back and win a Louisiana.
It's pretty
bred.
good though.
Yeah,
Graded
but she's
stakes
not
place.
as fast as these types.
It's also an off-the-turf race. I mean, to me, that's the biggest problem. You see that big improvement, and I just wonder if some of those off-the-turf races, they just don't translate to regularly scheduled dirt races. But I don't blame Brad Cox for coming here and taking a shot. It's a Grade 3. It's not like she's running against any tigers in here. They're okay. And you want to see, do we belong in the Apple Blossom? I guess the question is, are any of the big fillies or mares coming back that are going to be ready? Is Clairiere coming back in time for a race like the Apple Blossom? I saw her stablemate, Pauline's Pearl, got back into form winning the Ladies Classic the other day.
I'm going to see Mo Ray first to kick off this post parade here. Florent Giroux will be aboard. She had been on the turf back-to-back starts, and again, that was expected to be on the grass. It came off, but that was the biggest figure she's earned in her career. Wet track at Fairgrounds, for what it's worth.
Do you look at the Thorograph numbers? How do they have that race? Do they have that race fast enough?
I believe it was on the slower side, yeah.
And look, they paid $400,000 for her, so they are going to be. And she has decent pedigree, being an Uncle Mo out of Margaret Ray, who I think was she a stakes runner?
I don't remember. I remember she had a sister who cost a lot of money because she had been heavily touted before she started early in her career.
But she's a Grade 1 place. If she can get a graded stakes victor or even more black type, I mean, she's worth possibly doubly that at the end of the day.
No question about it.
So I get why they're here.
We just saw the 7 leave the screen. Can she get the lead again? That's the way she got those 2 victories in stakes competition. So here's a Mo Ray for Brad Cox.
I mean, we've sort of covered her in the last couple of minutes here talking about it. She's going to have to step forward to beat some tougher fillies.
Ice Orchid, the favorite at 2-1.
I think she's a little dressed up in her last race, but maybe she's a horse that's just coming around. Public seems to think so.
The On Fire barn of Norm Cassie with Powder River.
Well, the public says no way, Jose, at 11-1, but I thought she was a little intriguing here. Has that nice tactical speed. As Andy pointed out, we've seen the Fairgrounds form not able to translate oftentimes, though.
John Ortiz, Grayson's Macho Gal. Gabriel Saez rides.
She just looks like she's completely overmatched here. I guess her best race gives her a chance to get a piece.
Biggest price on the board. She was no match in the Pippin for this same group, basically. Here's Lay Davida, 3-1.
As Andy has said, against the track last time, but her Kentucky races have been better than her 2 races at Oaklawn. Do you start to wonder, does she not like the track there?
No, I think she's been completely compromised by the manner in which the races were run and the track.
And really Lovely Ride, back-to-back wins on the front end every step of the way, and 2 stakes wins here.
Yeah, listen, she's got her own way, so she's looking very good, but I believe that she's a dressed-up horse, and I just cannot believe that both the 4 and 5 are going to let her waltz the lead in this race, and I wonder if she'll be as effective on a much fairer racetrack also.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch and hear. One of the big storylines of this race. Can she get to the front, or will she be content to sit and stalk maybe from that outside post? You can play this race by ACOA. All the racing we bring you with NYRA Bets. That's the code to punch in for new members. Match 200 at NYRABets.com. 4 minutes to post in the feature race coming up. Let's check in with Paulie.
Yeah, listen, this is a really, really good edition of this race. $250,000 on the line. And when you look at this race, I go back to the Lovely Ride and the Ice Orchid race of last time. When you looked at that race in the Pippin, they kind of just controlled the race. Lovely Ride just got to the front end very, very easily. Ricardo Santana was very, very content to just lay Ice Orchid right off of Lovely Ride and try to turn it into a 2-horse race, which actually it did. And I'm in agreement with Andy. On that day, speed was very, very dominant. In the 6, La Divida, on the wrong lead, continued to pursue and make up ground when the other 2 horses were just getting away from everybody because they had slowed it down so much. Again, a lot of people like the 6 coming in. I've talked to multiple people that like the 6, and usually that's one of those things when everybody is on La Divida, it's not a good thing, but I think she's going to fire a big shot today. I really do. When you look at the other horses in here, you have Powder River. You know, Norm Cassie, another horse that obviously Norm's on fire, but does this horse stack up? You guys were talking about the fairgrounds form, but to me, guys, I thought La Divida was my play, at least, of the day. JK, like I always say, what say you, my friend?
I don't know. I mean, I got to be honest with you. You know, in this situation, the horses that I thought were all live are very similar in price. So it's one of those situations where I think a lot of times when you look at this pari-mutuel game, you're always trying to identify horses that offer value, but they're so close in price, and I think they're so close in ability that it's really kind of hard for me to do that. I'm going to ultimately go with the 6, La Divida in here. I thought when the prices were what the prices could be, I thought maybe A Moray, but with them all being kind of on top of each other, I'm going to go with the 6, La Divida, a horse that has run some big races. Nacho Correas obviously can get a good horse and can keep a horse good. I like the outside draw, and I think some of the 2 inside horses, the 1 and the 3, are both live in here, but they're drawn towards the inside. And at Oaklawn, I like horses that are drawn towards the outside in a very evenly matched race. I'm going to take the 6, La Divida.
Evenly matched is right. 4 of the runners in this group between 2-1 and 3-1 on the board.
I don't think it's evenly matched. I think the 6 is a cinch.
Well, we know how Andy feels about this by ACOA.
I'm going down in flames today.
I am of the mind that it is a fairly contentious field. Now we see favoritism to the 1. Okay.
That's surprising.
She's a pretty random favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of us at any time in here expected to see this one be the favorite on the board.
I mean, I'm not shocked. I guess she's the new face, and it's Brad Cox, and he takes a lot of money. I think she's a horrifically bad favorite, win or lose, but I mean, I guess off the big win for Brad Cox, his horses get bet so strongly in these races, right?
They do. I'm not against her, but I don't see her being.
You want her to prove she's
right.
in true dirt.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'd be
Router,
intrigued if she was 4-1.
Yes. I mean, 4-1, 5-1, I can understand, but she was
Yeah.
never going to be that price going to Brad. And it's Brad from Todd Pletcher. So you're really going to tell me that Brad is going to completely turn this horse's career around? I suppose it's possible, but I'll believe when I see it.
Meanwhile, Powder River, Norm Cassie won earlier on the card with that first-time starter. He's winning with all kinds of horses. He's over 50% at the meet. Powder River, second biggest price on the board, 11-1 right now.
Look, she's going to have to get faster. She hasn't run a race as fast as La Divida or Lovely Ride has recently, but her form isn't that far off of a Moray. So, I mean, and she's going out for, and not, to be fair to Brad Cox, I know he's won a lot of races there. He's run a lot more horses than Cassie, but Cassie Barnes going a little bit better. Just saying.
Well, she'd met
She was no
La
match.
Vida, and she lost by 3 lengths to her. I mean, it's not a terrible performance. I mean, it's not great, but it's not like she ran horrendously.
I'm just saying, 11-1 is insane on her, and I would gladly play her. With
I
the
agree.
6.
I think she's a better bet at 11-1 than the 1 is at 2-1. I'll put it that way.
So at some point, look, we have some older runners in here too. She's one of a few older mares. She is who she kind of is at this point.
Right.
Yes, that's a good point.
But yeah, and I get what you're saying, and Moray could be on the upswing, absolutely. But I don't know. At 11-1, I would definitely use her at least underneath.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that. Yeah, I think that's not a terrible price on her, all things considered. When you look at the field, I don't think it's not like this race it's competitive, but I don't think it's there's somebody in there. There's nobody in this race where you're saying, well, she's just on paper just way better than these horses. She didn't have to run. I don't think anywhere that good, based on what we've seen so far.
They're all pretty evenly matched, which makes that's why this is such an intriguing race.
Right.
And I'm really interested to see too. Just not only can she win, but what kind of trip is Lovely Ride going to get to 7?
Well, that's the big question, right? Are they going to just sort of concede the races they've been doing to her, which is something they've been doing? I mean, they've just been handing her the races. It's one of these things that reminds me of that filly, My Heart Belongs to Daddy, that was a non-speed horse that went the lead for Jorge Abreu on the turf here. She had no speed. She was setting slow paces and wiring fields, and they would just let her go to the lead, even though she was going slow paces. And as soon as people actually started trying and letting the horse go, she was nowhere near the lead in her races. I don't think she's that fast. I think they're just sort of conceding the lead to her.
And then she's going to have to do it from the outside, too. And watching them, Grayson's Macho Girl can have speed, and she is really sharp on the track.
I mean, even if you...
She just gets in the way, I think, of
even if
Lovely
you...
Ride.
Let's say you just don't care about track biases. You don't care at all. Presumably, one of the 4 or 5 are going to be in front of the 7 in this race, Lovely Ride. So she's taken out of her comfort zone, the comfort zone that's enabled her to run these good races recently. So she might be as good stalking. And listen, she's 7-2 if you like her. They're just ignoring her in here. But the general feeling is different trip, different track, tough for her to repeat. Though I don't know why she's 3-1 and the 1 is 2-1, to be fair.
I don't get why the 3's 2-1 in here. If anything, the outside two should be
the favorites. They should be the first 2
2-1.
choices. I totally agree with you.
What?
I totally agree
Two
with
who
that.
were trying to make up ground on Lovely Ride last time out. That's Ice Orchid, the 3, the 6, La Davida, 2-1, 5-2, respectively, shorter price than she is, and it was. We saw Speed doing tremendous on that day, no question. Should be more pace in here to make it more difficult for the 7. So this is going to be her toughest test yet, and it should be trying to get a graded stakes win for Lovely Ride.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to get tougher as the races go on. We'll see. I mean, I'm curious sort of what higher echelon. I mean, imagine that Pauline's Pearls may come, but will Clairiere go the same stable, are pointing towards the big one, the Apple Blossom.
Grade 3 Bayakoa, evenly matched group. It's back to favoritism with a Moray from the inside for trainer Brad Cox. We're set for the feature. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Lovely Ride broke beautifully. Grayson's Macho Gal is asked for speed. Ice Orchid is not, but she's close up. Then Powder River, followed by Amore, and to the outside, La Davida. Lovely Ride gonna cross and clear at the clubhouse turn, and she leads by a length and a half from Grayson's Macho Gal, who is sent after her now, and Grayson's Macho Gal challenges Lovely Ride up front. Ice Orchid sits just in behind those 2. She's 2 from the front. Powder River just outside of her. Amore is placed 5th by Florence Giroux. She's 5 from the front, and the trailer is La Davida as they run up the backstretch in the 31st running of the Bayakoa, and Lovely Ride, no easy leads for her today. Grayson's Macho Gal is on a mission to press this front runner. Lovely Ride just ahead. Grayson's Macho Gal. Ice Orchid is getting the perfect trip and the perfect setup. No excuses from her. 2 from the front. Amore moves through inside of her. La Davida has 5 5 lengths to make up. Powder River outside of her. They leave the backstretch, and Lovely Ride has had enough of Grayson's Macho Gal. Lovely Ride and Christian Torres, a 2-length lead on Amore, who has now moved into second. Ice Orchid comes after her. She's 2 from the front. Then La Davida at the rail, and she's moving up within 3.5 of the lead. Lovely Ride confronted by Amore. Lovely Ride still a length in front. Amore is second. La Davida dives to the inside. Ice Orchid is there, and Lovely Ride is some kind of tough to get by. Lovely Ride. Amore tries her again from the outside. Lovely Ride or Amore. These two come to the wire. Amore and Lovely Ride. Amore puts half a head in front and now gets to the lead. Amore! Amore beat Lovely Ride. La Davida was third. Ice Orchid fourth.
Amore gets by a stubborn Lovely Ride who got to the front again. Did get tested a little bit eventually by Grayson's Macho Gal. Ran a big race in defeat.
They handed it to her, though. I mean, the riders on the 5 and the 4 had double crosses, fistful of horses as they approached that first turn, and just let Lovely Ride do her thing. It was a good ride by Florent Giroux, I think, aboard Amore, as he sat in the pocket, bided his time, tipped out, but she was stubborn. Leda Vida, as mentioned, she's just
not very good.
She's not very good. She never switches leads.
I mean, to be fair, it was a ridiculously slow pace, and it projected to be a faster pace on paper. Having said that, she's following. Yeah, they're crawling. Having said that, she followed the 1, and she just didn't. She got badly outfinished in the stretch. She just wasn't good enough. I was dead wrong about her. I don't think I was wrong about the 7. Even being gifted the race, the 7 couldn't win. And I mean, I don't know where she's going to go as these races get tougher.
Yeah. 24 and 148 for the half. Yeah, got to do it
Just
pretty
a joke.
easily up front. In the end, Amore will run this one down for the victory. So back-to-back wins since moving to the Brad Cox barn. 4-year-old filly by Uncle Mo. 4th win of her career. Florent Giroux aboard for the victory, and the win streak comes to an end for Lovely Ride. We're going to say goodbye temporarily to FS2 again. NASCAR Cup Series practice at the LA Coliseum is coming up. Believe FS2 will rejoin us before we sign off at 6:30 Eastern time. So we'll see you in just a little bit. We're going to stay on the Fox Sports app, and we'll be on our YouTube page as well, New York Racing Association. We still have the nightcap from Oaklawn coming up. Feature in the books, Grade 3 Bayakoa. It goes to Amore, Florent Giroux, Brad Cox, Hunter Valley Farm. More coming up after this.
Yes, there's family. If we say La Troyenne, you'll get the picture. And of course, form. G1 this,
A breathtaking run.
G1 that.
Dig down deep to win it.
But take a long, steady look, and the word that most likely springs to mind is fantastic. Maxfield, family, form, physique, fantastic.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
We're back at America's Day of the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Feature at Oaklawn. In the books, Amore, Brad Cox, Florent Giroux. Now, a grade 3 victory on dirt on the resume.
I have a question, Maggie. Was Hunter Valley Farm the original owners of this horse?
No, my racehorse.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
this is a
they
private
paid for.
purchase.
No.
They bought her for $400,000. I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. So now, immediately rewarded with even more black type with a graded stakes victory here.
Goodbye.
At the end of the day, like I said, she has a nice pedigree, so she's going to be worth a lot as a broodmare.
She got $150,000 for this race, and probably upped her broodmare value a couple $100,000 at least. Yeah, if she can go on. I mean, you have to think. What is it? It's not. What's the next race? There's this is the Bayakoa. Can't remember what the other stake, and then there's the Apple Blossom. I know I'm having a brain freeze here.
Yazeri?
Azari, there you go. Thank you. I knew it was a good horse. It was another good horse, right?
Yes, well done, Greg.
Good California horses.
That's why we keep you around, man.
That's the only reason, Greg. But it'll get. I just have to think at some point it's got to get a little tougher, right? I mean, it does. Maybe there. I don't know if there are any
Bigger
fillies in there
names
to
you
go,
think are
but
going to be showing up. Certainly in the Apple Blossom, we know that. But yeah, I mean, first off, who's out there, and are they ready to come back at this point?
Exactly right. Yeah. Well, Pauline's Pearls could come. You know, I mean, I guess it depends on how eager they are to get Clairiere back. And Pauline's Pearls and Clairiere are both Stone Streets, and they probably want to keep them apart. But I guess the question with that one and will Pauline's Pearls comes off that Lady Classic, because Zeri's probably a pretty big purse. Those Oaklawn races have pretty hefty purses.
Yeah, and they want the big names to come for that Apple Blossom.
Yeah, no question. It's one of the most prestigious races there is in the division, certainly early in the year at this point. That would be in April. So Amore with the victory, getting by, I mean, gets by a horse who got pretty soft fractions. Does that get some extra credit for that?
Yeah, I mean, she got a terrific ride. She saved all the ground and she moved up inside and got exactly the ride you want. But yes, of course. I mean, she ran out a horse that's been in good form, that got away with just murder on the front end. I mean, they're just walking 24-48. So yeah, I do give her credit. I think you can say she was clearly best. I mean, there's no excuse. I know it was close, but there's no excuse for Lovely Ride not to win.
And I've always questioned her affinity for how far she actually wants to go. And I think she's answered that now as a 4-year-old, that she can go further because she was going best at the end of this mile and a 16th.
I know you guys don't have one. It's nice to have an Uncle Mo in the barn, though.
Greg. I feel like this is going to be
I want you to know, no matter how
long
badly you
season of
behave,
silk.
I'm still rooting for you to do well in this game. I really am.
No.
Not for you, for best.
Yes.
I'm not rooting for you,
We're
Greg. I'm
rooting
rooting
for
for best.
best.
Let's be clear.
Part of my game of Silk Stable. Yeah, I have an Uncle Mo as well. Amore with the victory here in this feature. We still have the nightcap coming up. We're going to get to Paulie in a moment. We're standing by waiting for him. Let's set up the finale in the meantime as we wait. It's going to be a state-bred, maiden special weight, 6 furlong sprint to close things out tonight in Hot Springs.
I mean, this is the race I've been waiting for. Unfortunately, I'm broke. I don't know, Mag, you got any brilliant insights in this one?
I really don't. I was a little bit interested in the 2 here, Stuck in Snow. I thought ran well, although well beaten as the favorite, but kind of did all the dirty work up front in that last effort.
Let's go to Paul.
Sorry guys, Flo's giving me a little bit of insight on the winner of the Bayakoa here, Amore, and you were telling me this horse has been working lights out in the morning, Flo.
Yeah, exactly. Since we got her actually at the fairground, she started walking, and every week she walks better than the previous week, and she's been in company with some very nice horses, of ours in the stable, and she walks extremely well. So we are very excited to see her run in the last time, and he came off the turf in a Pego Hop, and she was able to win that pretty easily. So we came here today hoping she could have made the same kind of race. And looked like she held her on pretty good, and she was able to run down a very game filly up in front, Lovely Ride, and you can tell the last 16 she just put her head down and really wanted to win, and I like that. There was a little bit of a dogfight, and she showed she was the best filly today.
Well, it was a great ride by you. Most of the Brad Cox horses show some speed. She's the kind of horse that kind of laid back, and she settled for you. You were able to save ground down the backside.
Yeah, I did exactly. She come from Todd Pletcher, so
yeah.
I guess Brad, didn't teach her from the beginning. But no, we don't want to to try to make anything new. It's whatever the horses are comfortable. I think that's how you need to handle any kind of races. Make sure you stay in the rhythm when the horse is relaxed and also is going to finish a bit. But very pleased with her effort today.
Well, congratulations. You win the Bayakoa on Amore. You gave the horse a little "that's Amore" after the race. Tell me what you would say to the horse in French.
Amour et affection.
I'm not even going to repeat that, Greg.
Good call.
Love and affection?
I
Is that
think
what he said?
our producer knows French better than any of us, but I think it was I love you, Amore. I don't know. The worst.
I would
Getting
too
involved
after
in this
getting that
conversation.
stakes win in the Bayakoa. Florent Giroux. Always
that
good to
stupid?
see him in the winner's circle.
He's a good guy.
Very
Yeah.
good guy.
Yeah, no,
That
I
was a
agree.
great ride too.
And John Panagot has his book now. John, of course, has Manny Franco's as well. And just talking to John, I might get together with him now. I know he can pay. He's definitely paying after the day I had and the day he had.
Again, this finale coming up. You talked about the 2 Stuck in Snow. Is probably going to be, I would think, maybe the favorite in this spot. I thought
it's
the
very
9
wide
interesting in here a little bit. Maybe the 11 Classy
Yeah.
Socks, who has some tactical ability and blinkers go on.
9 got completely left last
Oh, my
time.
gosh, yeah.
Made a real long run. Also the 6 who didn't, who was running at the end.
And Classy Socks, as you mentioned, it kind of was the only one that was forward last time that stayed around and put some blinkers on. So it could be very, formidable here. But feels like there's some other horses that could go. Give her some
Never
problems.
count out as well.
Yeah.
Shortleaf Stable, they have Great Barrier, the 4, taking a little bit of money. Back in February of 1972, John Ed Anthony should have made his first ever trip to the winner's circle at Oaklawn Park. Won his first race ever in Hot Springs. Absent from the win photo, though, because he couldn't find his way into the winner's circle. That obviously changed since that time, after last year becoming the winningest owner ever in Hot Springs.
Well, a good horse is inspirational, and a good horse makes you want to pursue it even further, but it makes you the rest of your life. It creates a little bit of an ebullience, and you feel excited about life whenever you're winning good races with horses. And they don't come around very often. And of course, that's Cox's Ridge and Van Landingham. That's the Belmont paddock. And that's, I think, Temperance Hill at the Belmont.
The family of John Ed Anthony has been associated with lumber and timber in Arkansas for over 100 years. And it's his home state that serves as the inspiration for the naming of his stable and horses, using Arkansas towns and landmarks. In the 1970s through the 1990s, Loblolly Stable campaigned some of the most famous horses in Oaklawn history, which carried Anthony's famous chocolate brown and yellow silks. Cox's Ridge became Anthony's first prominent horse in the late 1970s. The stable had 3 champions in the 80s and 90s. Temperance Hill was named champion 3-year-old male in 1980. In 1985, Van Landingham won champion older male.
He was a front-running freak. There wasn't anything to do about it. That's the way he was going to race.
And Prairie Bayou was awarded champion 3-year-old male in 1993.
He was trained by Tom Bohannon. Was speaking to Tom about what a good job he had done. He looked at me and said, anybody could train this horse.
I was too young to go to the races when Cox's Ridge was racing, but was able to sneak into the track to see Temperance Hill run at Oaklawn. Temperance Hill would be my favorite just because of the races he won and the exposure he gave the stable.
Temperance Hill now takes the lead. It's Temperance Hill, Arkansas Derby winner, taking the lead, going off by 2.
He won the Belmont and then the Travers and then the Jockey Club all in 1 year.
I was looking over here, this is the Travers.
Oh, it's a tough race to win.
Loblolly also won the Arkansas Derby a record 3 times before being dispersed in the mid-1990s.
Climbed up, putting the Arkansas Derby by a neck. The hometown colors of Loblolly Stable of John Ed Anthony, the 3rd-generation lumberman from Fordyce, Arkansas, who loves winning this home state race.
Horse racing has always been a way for John and Ed to bond, but since starting Shortleaf, it's gone to a whole new level.
We talk daily about what mare to breed to what stallion or what's going on with the horses in Ocala or what stallions we should be interested in. you have to stay on top of it on a daily basis. So it's an ongoing thing that we've certainly bonded over the years.
John Ed Anthony was inducted into the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame in 2001, and in March of 2022, Anthony became Oaklawn's all-time leading owner, recording his 270th career win.
It takes your breath away. The highs and lows in this business are peaks and valleys. It's maybe the only sport in the world where when you lose 4 out of 5, you're doing really good.
Legend out there in Hot Springs, won 172 races under that Loblolly banner, and just announced going to use a couple of, well, old and new faces as trainers. Dwayne Lucas going to hook back up with John Ed Anthony. He's going to use Lindsay Schultz as well.
Yeah, and Lindsay Schultz, a young trainer. She 34 years old. As she was quoted as saying, "It's my first owner that actually breeds possible Kentucky Derby horses." So she is really excited. And the coach, I mean, we were talking about Javier Castellano having a resurgent year. He may have as well with a huge Saratoga.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and they've been around for so long. Demons Begone, so many good horses over the years, and I was glad to see my friend John Gasper still working as his racing manager. He's been working with him for quite a while. He's a really terrific guy.
Yeah, and
Quite
that's
a list, Temperance Hill, Prairie Bayou, Van Landingham, Cox's Ridge, incredible success.
Yeah, Cox's Ridge was that was early when I went to the track. He was a good horse.
And I left one out, Garhole, my
Greg's
favorite Archie bred.
How quickly you forget, Greg.
We're going to pause briefly. FS2 is going to come back, rejoin us here. They left us for just a little bit, and we still have the nightcap coming up here at Oaklawn. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Welcome back to those rejoining us on FS2. Greg Wolf, Maggie Wolfendale, Andy Serling. You're watching America's Day at the Races. And we have the finale coming up out in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We just, of course, saw that Grade 3 by Akoa. Amore winning for Brad Cox. Surprising, I think, all of us up here, right?
Well, it's surprising that she won as the favorite. I think that was the most surprising thing.
Well, they were smart.
Yeah, they knew more than us.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked the third finisher. She didn't get a good pace to run it, but she wasn't good enough.
Well, let's get into this finale here. So it's a state-bred maiden special weight sprint, 6 furlongs, and stuck in snow, the 2. Don Von Hemel, this is going to be the 4th opportunity. 3rd, then a distant 2nd last time out. Beaten favorite, but again, one of the horses to beat. 6-1 on the board, though, right now.
Yeah, the board is so wide open. 5-1 favorite on a first-time starter. I mean, maybe a hunch play for me, Willow Creek Road. There isn't much pedigree to go on.
Interesting to see this horse taking this kind of money. So, you know, we saw this rider struggling a little bit in an earlier race, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he on that one horse that was getting in some trouble? Bringing the inside, was go look at Ron McQuaid, who also has a firster, but not taking much money. Bolivar, he finished 2nd with a firster, didn't take much money earlier. Good trainer, not always great with firsters, but I think the one's money's meaningful, right, Mag?
It is.
At this point, at least.
Absolutely. And it's not like McLean Robertson has gotten onto some flying start where they're just betting him because he's hot, and obviously this rider's not either. So, as you said, I think that is meaningful because there's really not anything else to go off of. Does have decent works. And I guess that's why they're betting him.
And the thing about you look at this race, there's so many horses that are very similar in Beyer speed figures, right? I mean, they're just all hovering around the mid-50s.
Right.
It's like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the horses, and only 10 of them have started, are all horses that run roughly mid-50 Beyers. So it makes it a sort of a tough handicapping puzzle, at least from that perspective.
6 minutes to post. Nightcap at Oaklawn. We'll get to the post parade in a moment. We're going to take a look at this 3-year-old picture on the road to the Kentucky Derby, and we'll get to the Withers rescheduled. Going to be next weekend. Of course, we canceled racing yesterday and today here in New York because of the cold weather. Holy Bull happened earlier today at Gulfstream. Cyclone Mischief. Not his day today for Dale Romans. It's Rocket Can in his 3-year-old debut for Bill Mott.
Yeah, this horse, I remember watching him up in Saratoga and thinking that, maybe longer would eventually be better for him, though I'm still not sure about that. But still won resolutely here in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to watch the whole race. I think he had a bit of a wide trip. Obviously, it was pretty close. It was not a strong field on paper. And with Dale Roman's horse, the Cyclone horse, not showing up, it made it weaker. Now, he was the second best horse on paper going in. He and Tapit Trice, who won an allowance race earlier for Todd Pletcher, I think they emerge from Gulfstream as the two better performances. I want to wait to see speed figures on any of these horses.
It was a New York-bred second who got a 59 Beyer in his debut maiden win that he held off.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Cyclone horse who had run that big figure of 90 in his prior race for Dale Romans. If he didn't win, I guess Rocket Candy, I think he ran an 82 Beyer in his prior start. Bill Mott's horse has been running so well. I mean, obviously Bill's had a lot of success for a long time, but he's been on a monster run since Saratoga, hasn't he?
He's been running the right ones.
Yeah, he really has.
As for the rescheduled Withers, back on the road to the Kentucky Derby here in New York next weekend. Take a look at what's transpired so far. Lugan Knight taking the Jerome.
Wonder if he'll come back for the Gotham when we cut back to a one-turn mile.
I think so. I think that's what Michael McCarthy had hinted at, because he said he's still not sure how much further than a mile he wants to go. So
he's probably being smart. He's probably thinking Woody Stevens. You know, he's probably thinking, I'd like to get this horse to Woody Stevens and Alan Jerkins.
You know, Arctic Arrogance, again, sort of repeat performance of the Remsen, not able to get by Lugan Knight, is going to show back up.
The problem is, assuming you have at least the same field as last week, they're not going to run Andiamo Firenze at 1.1 miles in this race and raid him again. Obviously, that was a very foolish decision. I mean, I understand they want to find something out. They tried, it didn't work out. I'm not trying to, bury them for it, but they're not going to run back and do it again. And I just wonder if Arctic Arrogance is a horse that you want, if he's got to try to pass horses.
For me, the Withers, as it was drawn for today, was just full of horses that probably don't really want to go the 9 furlongs.
I like the horse in the rail for Butch Reed.
Butch Reed, yes, that was the only one.
The Wigalia, who apparently looks like it want to go long, is a full horse that actually did go long.
Yeah.
So that's next weekend. Back on the road to the Derby here in New York. Meanwhile, nightcap still to come. Here at Oaklawn, we're going to get this post parade in here 3 minutes away before this kicks off. Still some significant money in that first-time starter that we should see first here, Willow Creek Road.
Clearly named for Maggie's daughter.
Yeah, I mean, it was her birthday yesterday. It's a hunch
Really?
day for me. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How old?
3.
Wow, we're getting old, Mag.
Correct. Scary.
McLean Roberts
Get
in at
Mitch away
5
from
to
her, I
1.
assume.
The true celebrations, though, coming up later, right?
Yes,
Really?
City on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Where are we going?
Double decker. It's this Encanto thing, the interactive house that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You're stuck in snow. Mild favoritism, to say the least, at 5 to 1.
Yeah, definitely one of the horses to beat.
Ron Moquette, first timer here, Bolivar.
Not taking a lot of money for a horse that not a lot of pedigree to go on. There usually isn't with the Archie Breds.
Debut at Keeneland was a big number and a lot of changes for Great Barrier.
This horse has a huge turf pedigree. I have to Bubble Rock.
Really?
Yeah. A Candy Ride.
Weird.
26 to 1 on Hacker. Has some speed.
It's a little slower than most of the contenders, though, but a big price.
Shake Up, Brett Calhoun trains, Nick Juarez rides.
This horse is taking some early money. We'll see how much he continues to drift up, but he was soundly beaten, I thought. That he just doesn't have any early speed.
Big gallop out last time, man.
Oh, that's right.
I know you love a big gallop out.
Yeah, you know me.
Colonel Barton going to cut back in distance.
He's a player of his last race, turning back, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't crazy? He's a crazy price at 21 to 1.
14 to 1 extra Kiss of the Nile.
Kiss of the Nile's had some chances, but is okay. His last few races make him a legitimate player.
Yeah, 15 to 1. It wouldn't be a shocker. I thought Percy Road very interesting at 6 to 1.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. He's another one that could win. He broke 2 to 3 lengths slow last time. He's got to break better. I don't like when they break slow from the outside posts.
Skyped blinkers on. He just went by, and here's the 11 Classy Sox, another potential contender, blinkers on.
Absolutely. He's another one who's in that mid-50 buyer range.
And first-time starter outside, taking no play whatsoever. 23 to 1 Singing Groom.
Well, he was a 50 to 1 morning line.
Birdsong.
Birdsong actually hits with 16% as first-time starters.
Wow. Big number there outside. We have this to come to close out the card from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Stay with us. The nightcap next when we return here on America's Day at the Races.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 7 millionaires. With over 10% stakes performers, his recent top runners include Tarabi, placed in the Grade 1 Spinaway and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 2 winner Plum Ali, plus these standout performers.
It's a Bushido coming down to the wire in the Ontario Racing Stakes has run them ragged.
A proven value sire. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We are back, and we have one more race to bring you, the finale out in Hot Springs, Arkansas. You can play all the action, of course, with NYRA Bets. Get signed up, started, NYRABets.com. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. All right, you two, selection time.
Let's take a shot here with, Percy Road, but that's too short of a price.
I'm going to take a shot with a 7 Curl Barton. He's just too big a price.
24 to 1.
I just think he's a crazy
All right,
price.
let's go to Paulie.
Yeah, listen, I wouldn't argue with anybody that wants to take a price in this race. You look at the board right now, the first-time starter, the one, not completely getting dismissed for McLean Robertson, obviously not having a great meet. The 4, the kitchen sink is getting done here. Gelding first time. Santana gets aboard for John Ortiz, not having the greatest of meets, but this is a horse that was 15 to 1 on the morning line, down to 6 to 1. You know, the 9 Percy Road, I was asking Christian Torres actually before the races, and he likes this horse today. He just needs to get out of the gate. The horse did make up a tremendous amount of ground late in the race. These are the kind of horses that are really tough to gauge and wonder what's going to happen. And do you want to take that kind of price? Well, you're getting 5 to 1 as it is right now. So you're getting a price on anybody you like in here. The 2, I get it. The 2 in here, Stuck in Snow, has got the best form in here. But I like the 6 in here, Shake Up, and I'll tell you why. This horse was 5 to 1 in an open bred race as an Arkansas bred, first time out, did not run well, got out of the gate bad. His last race, he's improved immensely. He is a big son of Lord Nelson. I think that's why he has gate issues. I think he improved last time. He's getting played too at 9 to 2, so I'm going to use him on top with Nicky Juarez. This is a tough field, JK. Who'd you land on?
I was going to go with the 2 Stuck in Snow. Andy's going to laugh when I say this, but I have a hard time betting a favorite at 4 to 1. I like my favorites to have a slash in it, you know, like a 4 to 5, 3 to 5, 6 to 5. That's the kind of favorite I like. Not a 4 to 1. That means that no one has any idea what they're doing in this situation, and I'm going to go with the 10 Skyped. This horse has some experience, and that can sometimes be a problem when you're in these types of races, but does have some tactical speed, has shown some speed at other races, is drawn towards the outside. In a race that's wide open, I just felt like I wanted a horse that I felt like could work out at least some sort of a nice trip. So I'm going to take the 10, 7 to 1. Like I said, I like my favorites to have a slash in them. Oh, 7 to 2. That's not the slash I was talking about.
JK would like to see a 1 before that.
Yeah. 1 to 2, we'd be all in.
What do you make? Okay, so Skyped at 7:01. A couple races back,
we
this
have a
horse
late
was on
scratch.
the lead.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, Forrest coming out of the race, late scratch.
That's it. I'm going home. Oh, the short leaf stable.
If we ever see that horse on the turf, we got to bet.
Okay, you make sure to remind me. Because I'll be sleeping somewhere. He's not going to be on the turf at Oaklawn, I'll tell you that. If he is, it's a problem.
He's eating it.
So for Skyped to win this race, in your opinion, what needs to happen?
Well, I mean, he can win the race. He's run the fastest figs of anybody. But he's
maiden, by
he's
the
a
way.
6-year-old maiden who's 0 for 10. I mean, listen, at least he's 7 to 1. So I get that, and he's fast enough to win. But I'm not taking the 0 for 10 in here.
Can't remember the last time I've seen a 6-year-old maiden.
We had an 8-year-old maiden here the other day that they were betting, that turf horse that ran. It was like 5 to 2 here at Aqueduct. The horse was an 8-year-old maiden. I think, were you here? It was like a week ago Thursday?
No, I wasn't here.
Yeah, there was that. You know the horse is a turf horse, and he was running on the dirt. He's an 8-year-old maiden. He actually had run as a 3-year-old.
Oh, the gray horse.
You know, the
gray horse, the Ferrone stable.
But yes, it was a Ferrone stable horse, yeah. But you're right, Greg.
Bernardino.
You don't, yeah, Bernardino, that's the
Yeah.
horse. But no, you're right, Greg. There aren't a whole lot of them. I mean,
I'm doing something I shouldn't do. You shouldn't do. But I'm going to 8 to 1. Or
You're gonna audible.
I'm going to audible. Classy Socks.
I'll let you do it.
The 11, your selection. Now, you
What
were
were
going to
you
go
tied
9,
to
now you
before
like
that?
the 11.
Yeah, because as Paul said, he's right. It's hard to gauge these horses because you can think they have trips and then they're not going to break again, or they're going to be used too, forwardly, and they'd
get
rather.
too caught up in that, though, when they're big prices, you know?
But he's not a big price. He's 9 to 2.
Which, the
I'm
9
talking
you
about
mean?
the
Oh, you went 9, okay.
I feel more Paul talked about it, the more I felt as though he could be a trap.
You know, if the 2 drops down another half a point or so, down to 9 to 5 or something, Jonathan may want to
All
switch his
in.
pick. He could really starting to get to be the right price.
His point, let's be honest, we're piling on JK, but
We're
we
just
get
having
it. His
fun.
point is, heavy favorites who are expected to win. This isn't exactly one of those.
2 to
Although
1.
JK may have put his money there because that
2 to
price
1.
continues to come down.
2 to 1, he's getting itchy. How can you take 2 to 1 in this race on anybody? I'm sorry. This seems like a totally random race, and you're supposed to find somebody at a little bit of a price.
Yeah, back to your 11. So Classy Socks, Maggie. At least there's lightly raced. There's some more upside with this horse who has moved forward. Couple starts off the bench. Today's the 3rd off the layoff as well.
Right, and has that speed, gets blinkers on today, but drawn towards the outside. And last time he was the only one that was forward early that stayed around, where we saw the 1st and 3rd place finishers coming from well back.
Go ahead.
I just don't understand why my horse, Colonel Barton, is 29 to 1. What was so terrible in his last race? He said he gets much better horses than these, wasn't he?
Yeah,
that was
open maiden
open. That was an
50.
open maiden 50. I don't know. He seems like a fair price to me.
That was, routing. Packed it in fairly early.
You know me, I love a turn back.
Back to Paul's 6. This horse is taking money. 4 to 1 on Shake Up.
Now, see, this is the one I didn't get, but to be fair, they paid $285,000 for Lord Nelson Arkansas bred.
How did Seth Klarman miss this horse for Clarvich Stables?
He said, too, Paul said he's a really big
Ask him.
horse.
Right,
And
so
potentially
he
that's
must
having,
be good looking.
But that's maybe some of the reasons, too. He's had problems
Sure.
getting out of the gate. He also gets away, finally, from the inside.
Yeah.
I mean, all 4 of his starts, he's been drawn inside.
He's the livest on the
I
board.
just don't love that you could say the good news is the best race was his last race. But he's got 4 races, and the other 3 aren't even contentious, but maybe he's improving.
You're not getting 38 to 1 this time.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the value has evaporated, no question. 9 to 2, though, on Shake Up the 6. One of several contenders in a wide-open nightcap on this Bayakoa card. There's the 5 Hackers stepping in. Should be part of the pace early. Vic Stauffer with the nightcap from Hot Springs.